What time is that, Nick?
Uh, Waiting on it for
You got 2 minutes. So,
2 minutes. 2 minutes, yep. 1 minute now.
Assalamu alaikum.
You and me.
Yeah, I'm off of me.
Okay. As long as you off the mute, they can hear you.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this week's edition of the Halal Industry Do for Self. I'm James Bashir, along with Brother Nate Muhammad. Imam Wali Ayyub Bilal, he was in the hospital recently, so we pray that he's home and doing well. We ask everybody to keep him in your prayers. And we begin, like always, with Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. And we pray everyone had a successful week. Everyone is doing well. Family members are doing well. And I know certain parts of the country, we had a lot of rain, you know. Some places, things got knocked down, trees, flooding, you know. So, but that's all Allah let you know who's in charge.
Mm-hmm.
We pray that he could have brought a flood. Floods us all out, like he done Pharaoh on them. But he didn't. He was merciful, you know.
He's merciful too.
Just give a little bit, let you know who's in charge. And the rain does a purpose too, though. Does things for the environment, keeps things clean, gets the trash away. You know, so it has a purpose. So Allah is God, you know. So we thank Him, you know. And as always, that's as always the work continues. Uh, this whole every week our whole process, the whole conversation, it's going to be about halal, how we can make this a reality. Each one of us in our own lives, we have to become halal. Everything we do, say, do, think, you know, has to be permissible before Allah. You know, you say to yourself, I mean, it's just pleasing to Allah, you know, when I'm doing, and then we ask Allah to help us, you know, have mercy on us, and then we have to go to work. Again, here we ran here at the Philadelphia Masjid here in Philadelphia. You know, me and Brother Nate. I believe Brother Brian Ali will be with us later. Right now, it's just me and Brother Nate. And as always, you know, we coming to you every Wednesday, and the whole conversation, you know, it's about halal, how we can get this brotherhood to become halal, you know, when everyone with their own how they think, how they carry out things, you know, it has to be in accord with what Allah wants. Yeah. We just looking here because here at the Philadelphia match, should be still going through some growing pains. You know, you know. Again, just trying to get on that straight path. You know, trying to do try to be again. Try to do what's best pleasing to Allah.
That's right.
And we got some work to do. You know, we have to.
Always have work to do. They ain't gonna be never finished.
Mhm. And as Brother Nate said, there's always going to be some work. Matter of fact, just to add to it, just wouldn't be right. It just wasn't nothing to do. You know, nothing happening. Because you got to watch that too. You know, because in doing the work, that makes you better. You know, it's good to be moving around, thinking positively, trying to do good, trying to be right for Allah. You know, so the work we got to do work on ourselves, work on our families. We got to do work in the community. We got to do work here at the masjid. And the whole thing is about bringing about this the halal mindset, because we have things are going on. Some brothers, things with destruction now. Brothers are now they seem to be shall we say giving a lot of importance on the hadith. But as we know in Islam, again, still in that same vein of halal, you know, the Quran is the number one authority. So whatever we do, we don't never want to pit hadith on the same level as the Quran. You know, yeah. So again, when you talk about being halal, see those things, you begin to put things in their proper order. You know, laws of God in the Quran was revealed to Muhammad the Prophet. And we try to, in Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is an example. You know? So we had that divine word of Allah, then we had that human example in Prophet Muhammad. When the peace of Allah be upon him, you know. So those are the sources. Number two sources, Allah, Sunnah, the Prophet. That we try to apply our life to. We look to Allah to wake us up in the morning. That's how me and Nate is talking to you right now. And those are listen. That's how you can listen now, because that was due to Allah's mercy that He woke us up this morning and kept us woke. Make sure we ain't even sick, so we can participate in this program. And certain things just have to be certain things have to be in place even to make this program go off. We have we got two sisters. They make sure that this program is running smoothly. Without them, to be truthful, it wouldn't even go on. And that's Sister Martha and Sister Sherry. I can't say enough about those two. I mean, they could go far beyond. But at the same time, we have to be we as the brothers. We have to be we have to stay on that straight path, being halal. So we got just here. We got work to do, because we got to, as best we can, to bring about some balance, even in the Muslim community. We got to find out. We have to get all this as being on. Trying to be halal. With this halal mindset. As the brothers, we got to take the lead. So we got to. It's important that we got to have dialogue. That, so when we have certain, we need certain things has to be going on. Conversations have to be going on. It's based on halal. So we need. So the best we can do, since we don't having access to the cookbars, what's being said on the roster, everything has to be do with when as you just walk this word of mouth, brothers you talk to, they got to see in you that example. And we talk to as many brothers as we can, try to bring about some clarity. Try to find out how we can come together and bring this brotherhood, make it stronger, make it in accordance with halal. Yeah. And say that is that's some work because we come when we come around, we come out for Juma. Well, that's mandatory for us, for the Muslim. You know? And when you come to Juma, the main thing is the Father is the prayer and the khutbah. Yeah. So that's the best time. One of the really the best time because you majority around that's when you have majority of people here at the masjid. So you can hear. So you had a chance to really get some religious direction. And also anything that you want to get across to the community. If you plan on having what's the plans for the community? Any meetings you want to have set up, or any talents you want to have set up. Anything you want to plan for the community and get it announced. I mean, Juma is a good. That's the best way to. And Muslim, that's when the majority of people are here. You know, because as we as brothers, we got to meet. You know, but right now it's just you can be an example, and you can just talk to brothers as you see them. When they see you, they can see you living halal. You know, and when we talking to the brothers, you know, then you can, as best you can, you can offer some clear direction. I know for me, I'm not around as much. You know, I'm here for the Juma. I come out and I participate in terms of helping out with security. For the nature every day because he's dealing with the work and what's going on. I can see from the time when I'm around, I just see that you know see we need a meeting set up for the brothers, first, so we can talk more. See, but that's still a work in progress. So until we get that done, we just as best we can make sure we live in that halal, living in accordance with halal. When they see me, make sure I'm living like halal. I'm respectful. They see a God-fearing man. Until we have to, and until we can get so where as we can have things more direction coming over the roster, particularly uh, particularly during Juma. Then also have media set up taleems where the community with the brothers mainly, and not exclusive only, but the men we are the protectors and maintainers of the women and children. So we got to get the whole community, starting with the men, everybody talking, thinking, and living halal. And see, that's something that's going to be ongoing, until till it's really commonplace, till it's a reality. Because we just can't keep going on the way things are, when so far, I mean, we got to bring a little, just got to, I mean, we charged with setting a clear direction for the community, you know, you know. So the way it is now, we can do is just we can talk as we see brothers, if we see people, we can talk to them, you be a brother to a brother, man. First you ask how the family's doing, and talk and just have good, wholesome conversation. But the main thing is we need meetings set up, you know, so we can really talk to the people, you know. somehow until we get what's access, till we can get clear direction coming over the roster, Juma, and have Talim set up where we really reach the people. Right now we're doing what we can do. Just talk and show that example. You know, everything when they see us, they see me close. They see Nate the most because he's around here every day. They see him. They know he's living in Halal. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Same me, same man. I'm basically just here on Friday. Yeah. But nevertheless, through the little you see me, the same thing. But the work continued. You just can't. No, we're not. You can't get discouraged because that's part of the process. After the hardship, then comes the ease.
Right. That's right.
After the struggle,
Come to eat.
after hardship, come the ease. Right here in the city of Philadelphia, we in the midst of city workers. The people pick up the trash, fix the light bulbs in the city streets, and things when the sewers are over flooded, they come out and unclog them. So they on strike here in the city of Philadelphia. So that's another process that we're going through right now. So you're gonna have even I don't just say in Philly with that strike. You gotta be patient. Still gotta have that allow mindset. You know. Now, because they're not coming to your house pick up your trash. They got designated sites we can go take your trash to. So I mean, you got to put it in your car, best you can, or something, and then get it to that trash site. Whereas before, you had to put it sick about normal. If it wasn't a strike, you could put it right at your curbside, and they come pick it up. So tomorrow morning, I got to get up here and get my trash together and take it to one of these dump sites. I mean, trash sites. Excuse me. That's just one of the again. That's one of the things you got to do. You're dealing with a problem. So you see what the problem is. Again, that's when the halal come in. That patience come in. You can't get upset. You got to go ahead and get that trash together because tomorrow is my for the city, the part of the city where I live at. Thursday is my trash day. So I have to get that trash out of there tomorrow morning. I tend on being out of there. I'm gonna try to be out of the house 6 o'clock with that trash. Take it to the trash site. You know, see, that got to get done. See that removal of trash. I mean, living this dean is a priority, but you gotta eat. You need food, electric, and gas, and all those things too. You know, they live by. And some of that trash. That's one thing that has the trash has to be collected. Yeah. Uh, so that's because with that's gonna cause some health problems. So again, I mean, this halal process, we keep working at it because we have to. We got no choice. We can't retreat. We can't back up. We can't get fed up and throw our hands up. We got to keep talking to the people we can talk to. You know, keep our prayers to Allah and keep talking, keep working, keep showing that example. Yeah. When they see us, when we talk to people, all they hear is a good, clear, positive information coming from our mouths. When we talk, not a whole lot of complaining and whining. No, but you give them clear direction. Make suggestions. Offer suggestions. Always say a kind word directed to the right.
Mm-hmm.
How's your family? How's everything going along? particularly here in Philly, because everybody got to deal with this trash strike in the city of Philadelphia right now. So that's something we all got in common. So that's something that that's something you got to deal with, because you can't have trash piling up. That'll cause some serious problems. Serious health problems. I mean, you have rats and everything coming around.
Got rats running around the city.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, some rats, they be so big they chase the cats away.
Yeah.
If a cat and a rat get into it, boy, that cat ain't fast enough, that cat getting around that throat, boy, that's over.
Cat running from them rats today.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, I seen a rat and it ran from it.
I've seen cat run from the cat. Them rats down Center City. Man, you kill them big jumpers. If I didn't see it, I wouldn't have believed it.
They were just telling me down in Center City, Philadelphia, that like downtown in Philadelphia, the rats down there is so big, man, the cats run from them.
That's right.
That's how big it is. Because when you're out there eating normal,
and all them restaurants down there.
All the restaurants eat because not to go off talking about rats, but since this is something here in the city of Philadelphia with this trash strike, I used to work for the rat control project years back in the 70s when I worked for the city. And one thing they told us in the class, rats, they like fresh garbage. So behind restaurants, that's a feeding ground for them. They get access to that. Oh man, it's like a party every night.
Right, smoking bowl.
Yeah, that's what they like. They're particular. I remember they were saying in those classes, they're particular. They like fresh garbage. So again, just get back to the what we got to do as humans. We got to just keep talking, because we got to establish this halal industry. So that's something that has to get done. Allah's will, they will be done. But in the process, we keep talking to people. We as best we can. We talk, just try to bring some clarity. You never know what people are going through. So best we can, when they see us, let them see a person that's really living loud. That's a balance. That's a good brother. They're glad that when they see you, they're glad to see you. And when they leave, they feel better having been around you for a few minutes or an hour, because of the way you act, where you conduct yourself, things you say a word directly to the right, because people people are going through stuff here, what's on their mind, as I said here, even with the master we're trying to get, we don't have clear access to the what's coming over the roster, you know. So best we doing like one-on-ones is just talk to people, and as best we can, talk about how you can bring yourself into allow, because all it is, whatever, all your actions, where you think, where you act, where you talk, you can ask yourself, well, what I'm doing and saying, is that pleasing to Allah, and then because if it's not allowed. So you have to be careful how you carry yourself,
That's right.
what you say, because people are watching, and right, and now is the time people need clear direction. They need good human examples.
That's right.
To be around, and good clear information. They don't need to be nothing too spooky, nothing too spiritual. Something to stay right in the middle.
Keep down to earth.
Keep it right down to earth. Ground. And keep your balance. Because there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to do here. A lot of work to do in the city, in the state, and around the country. Because we all dealing with the person we have in the White House. I could be here all night talking about him, but I don't know. But even dealing with him, I can't let that deter me, you know, thinking about that foolishness, you know. Yeah. Can't let them I can't let that process take me out of not being allowed, in spite of whatever's going on. Still got to be in the state of halal, you know. What I'm saying and doing, is that pleasing to Allah? So with that, I'm going to bring on Brother Nate, inshallah, James Bashir, the halal industry. Assalamu alaikum.
Nice salam, James. Assalamu alaikum, Nate Muhammad. Halal industry, do for self. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. You like a warm hand and a dua for your man Bilal. He had surgery Monday, and today he had complications. They had to take him back to the hospital. So we do a little. That said, I want to comment on what James was just talking about. I want to start with the strike here in Philadelphia. I know it doesn't have anything to do with Halal per se, but Philadelphia is a strong union town. We done witnessed a lot of strikes in this city. And I don't have anything against if you have to strike for betterment. But now, once we indulge in Islam and we deal with fairness, fair and honest, and we happen to look back at the situation, I happen to have been in the construction field, so we had the construction union. But what we have today is the municipality policy. Their strike.
Yeah.
They go. Yeah, what James?
Municipal union.
Municipal union.
Right.
And they represent the city, right, the people of the city. And it's just like what we are. We are service to Allah, and where we turn, we deal with the public. We are service to the public. We're not a flunky to the public. We're service to the public. Here in this city here, they have a warning that the police can't strike because they service to the public. The firemen can't strike. They service to the public. Anybody that deals with the public shouldn't strike or shouldn't be able to strike. Has to be some kind of warning that you can't handicap the city for somebody that's strong arm and overpower the city government. And that is a mutual thing where you have to sit down and you have to have fair negotiation. And the city explained their situation, how they offer the union X amount of dollars for 3 years or whatnot. And they rejected it. Now, it's not my business. Everything is buck wild as far as money wise. You get what you want. They done raised everything. Everything is high as heck. Everybody is gorging themselves, getting whatever they can get. And I see that same pattern with the union, even though this is the first one we done seen, but it's going to be a continuation of other things. Why? Because everybody's doing it. The food market, construction material, housing, even the power, the electric and the gas, all of them done raised their price astronomically. And that same pattern, that is not the care and the serve humanity. That's cold-blooded greed. Downright, outright greed. I'm only saying that because I was always involved with the unions and knew a little bit about how they negotiate and all that. But I'm reading the pattern. What I see everybody is doing all around. Whatever they offer the city, I mean the city locals, the union, they want double. They have so they say they have a fair program offering, negotiating it. They don't want it. They want double. Right? That's not me to say who's right and what's wrong. No, I'm just looking at what's going on around us. I'm not saying who's right or wrong. I'm looking at what's going on and how everybody is taking advantage of the situation. Everybody. We paying everything. Everything is we paying out of our shoes. Everything costs more and we getting less. Hey, that's what we dealing with. Oh, I seen a hand up. Was that? Yes, we got a hand up. Whoever hand that is. Nevertheless, we have to use our intelligence, what we learned from the religion, to help deal with reality in society. Because right now, everything is buck wild. We got to bring some kind of stability within the structure of society. I say, number one thing, how we go about doing that is through being halal, establishing a halal approach. We're dealing with common sense that's going to benefit everybody, mankind and our kind. This is important that we can sit up here and eliminate all of the blight. Because this is the outright greed, totally pure greed. We go, you go everywhere. It's a crying shame how we have to hold our tongue. Everything is so high. And I'm sure it's almost like, matter of fact, it is. It's forcing you to accept that. And I always say, anytime something is forced on you, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. Everything will move fairly. Everything be normal. And look at this society, they forcing everything on the people. People don't have no choice but to accept it. And then we run around and wonder how all this madness is going on out in society as far as with the killing and shooting and all this. Our solution is right there in our problem. But we have to have an approach to accept that, to go deal with it. Because right now, it's forcing the people to take on things they really shouldn't have to do. I can go all the way back with this city here. The main thing is with the transportation, how they force the people. 50, 60 days without transportation to get around. That's not acceptable. And then right now to this day, the sector or the transportation company is having hard time dealing with the public. Public is going buck wild. Sometimes the people walk on the bus and subway just and don't pay nothing. And the company has informed the drivers that don't say nothing. You had one sector guy, girl came on and just shot him, guilty. And we don't see how we created our own problem, or the problem was created through our society. But we always say, "Oh well, I have to feed my family. I gotta. I'm only doing my job." Yeah, but just the job and feeding your family is also hurting other family. That's why the fairness, the fairness and the honesty is important. And I'm just talking about for those that deal with the public. Any kind of union that's over the public shouldn't strong arm the public. You didn't even care about the welfare of the public. When you sit back here and you make decisions, you always look at how is it going to affect the public. And this is the kind of things that, when you're dealing with being a service to the public, you have to pay that attention, give attention to that. You just can't go out and do whatever and say whatever you want. And that's it, because it's the repercussions of all that. Again, they done shot up a lot of SEPTA buses. And they just said today somebody slashed a couple ties for the city people that's on strike. But we don't see how it affects society. We're not thinking like that. This society could care less about the welfare of society. That's why it's important that we have to pay attention to religion. Religion is the salvation of everything. Leading with what Almighty God wants first. Allah. You go to some of the meetings and all, they start everything out with prayer. But after that, you don't hear nothing. Everything else is money, money, and more money. We lead with our faith and what Allah says, God says. We can neutralize a lot of these, or handcuff a lot of these problems that's going on that we're surrounded by. And we wonder how we want to do this halal, and we want to unify the people. We have to start being fair and honest to the people in order to get their attention. Right now, the way everything is going, you done pushed everybody away. Everybody on their own planet, doing whatever they want, however they want. But that's us. This is why our destination is the halal industry and the procedure and the road, how we want to get there. And as James said, I'll be around the masjid almost every day. And we deal with a lot of believers that comes in constantly. Some comes in very, very, very moody, frustrated, venting or taking out their frustration on whoever they see, with the arguing and upset with the smallest thing you can imagine. They're only a product of what society is doing to them. Because it's just the masjid didn't do it to them, because you don't be around here. You're not here. So you can't blame the masjid. But we're a product of this environment. The environment is the one who shapes and forms your mind, your thinking, your emotion. This is why we're trying to establish a halal approach. Redirect all that. We got to get this pain off the people's heart. You forcing everything on them, yeah, that leaves a bad taste and affects your heart when you go about doing things. And then we'll sit up here and make statements like, oh yeah, you can't change your condition until you change the condition of your heart. Oh, you're going to have a different approach when you're going about dealing with the people then. You won't have to appeal to the people from your heart, not from your pockets. that greed. You got to eliminate that. You got to neutralize. I'm not. Okay, James reminded me, okay, we're going to have a yes, PSA right now. So here's James Bashir again. Nate Muhammad, Halal industry. Do for self.
Assalamu alaikum. American Muslim 360, the #1 Islamic radio station in the nation. Support Muslim Journal digitally or manuscript or both. Muslim Journal is 60 plus years in existence. Support Graceline community in their efforts to educate on financial literacy and promote financial functionality. Why? Historical disparity primarily amongst the medium, low to no income persons. Join us every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for an edition of the Halal Industry Do for Self with your host, Imam Wali Ayyub Bilal, President, Founder, and CEO of Bilal Zinc, and co-host James Bashir and Nate Muhammad and Brian Ali. The interest of Bilal Zinc is to establish economics for the African American people, descendants of the slaves of America. This program is to encourage people to unite and to build economic strength, to establish community life by doing for self, to build the model community.
Thank you, Brother James. It's Nate Muhammad again, the Halal industry. Do for self. And with a continuation of what we've been today, our ability, we want to build a strong brotherhood. But we also have to identify some of the things that's stopping us from building a strong brotherhood. We still have to deal with the effects of what we have to encounter in society, where you're always bringing that to the forefront or to our present. We deal with it, been dealing with it for the longest. Been dealing with it so, in a sense, where we constantly dealing with something to offset it. I believe we build our structure to combat. We don't have no control over what's going to happen, but we can over how we deal with it. And if we build our structure to combat it, especially if we know it's coming, we build it to offset it. I call that reading the signs of creation, knowing what you're up against, and go on and deal with it. That's how we've been going around, maneuvering and everything. I was dealing with, as I always say, I have a background in construction, and we be on the job site. I knew, I was privileged to know what stage of the job was and what was coming and what was going. So I will always try to stay ahead of what's going on. So no matter what happened, we were never caught blindsided, where we had to hustle and jump out our skin just to get and maintain some form of order around. And this is the same thing with everything that we do. We have to be ahead of it based on what we know. We have to set everything up based on what we know, what we're up against, and that determine how we deal with it. Imam Bilal is and using strategic methods in establishing the concept of the halal industry, where he always and remind us that we have to unify first. No matter what we do, we have to unify first. And yes, sometimes we pronounce it over and over and over again. But that's how they establish their lie, pronouncing it, reciting it over and over again. And here we got something good, and we have to continue to announce it. over and over and over again. So the concept is not only established within the people, but it's establishing with ourselves, within ourselves. And if we don't believe it, how are we going to deal with the people? How are we going to present it to the people if we don't believe it? The procedure or the journey or the process we came about to get to this point was enough to convince me that this halal industry is real. This halal industry is here to stay. And we just a couple of us right now that's instrumental in pushing it. But we're making headway because the people are beginning to believe it. They're beginning to see what we're talking about. All they had to do is look at their situation, look at the situation they're surrounded by. And they can see that we need something. We need to do something. We got to do something. And we always know that Allah is with us. He promised us this success. And as we stay on the course, we're doing what Allah wants. We can be successful, or we're going to be successful. Whether we might be around when this come about, whether we here or not, I don't worry about that. As long as our name go down with the history of the halal industry, those was part of establishing that criteria in the people mind. That's all that matters to me. I don't care about the glorification, being seen, nobody know this, and that. I can care less about that. I care about establishing what Allah wants. And being on top of the people, making sure the people are being treated fairly and as honest as possible. That's what I feel. That's what I see how we can go about getting this done. But we got to continue to labor hard. And then we have to learn to fast away from those who are going to irritate you. I had a couple encounters this week with that. I had to learn to back off, leave it alone. Because we're not going nowhere with that. All they're going to do is raise your blood pressure. That's all they're going to do. They ain't going to do no help, lend a helping hand or nothing. They just going to raise your blood pressure. You go to the hospital and they go on about their business. So we have to be a little bit more wiser and going about doing it because a little bit of everybody and everything comes through the masjid. And trying to get everything up on or everybody on the same page. As the brother had mentioned it a couple of weeks about, it only, if there's only one, I mean, 2, 3, 4, go with them. Deal with them. That's what we doing right now with the halal industry, keeping this whole thing afloat, keeping the desire out front. Even though Imam Bilal is a little bit under the weather, but we still, they're giving us support and reinforcing everything that he had already established. Now, I don't mind that. I enjoy every minute of that. Because why? If the shoe was on the other foot, Imam Bilal would be still out front. He'd be doing the same thing I'm doing. We had the opportunity to grow among each other. And this is how we want to get the unity or to unify the people so we can grow with each other. The brother was telling us today about the companions of the Prophet and the Sunnah and how we have to adhere to all that. Yes, we do. But you got to clean the people up first. You got to clarify a lot of things that happened yesterday so you can prepare for tomorrow. You just don't just strike that from the record and it goes out in vain. No, it still exists. The people are still suffering from it. This is why we talked about the welfare of the strikes with the union and how it affects the people, the mentality, their heart. And everybody will turn around and say how cold people are. No, it's how cold that society's been to the people. People was warm-hearted. They're warm-hearted until you enforce and put your will down on them. And your will is on them. Whether they liked it or not, they're going to be affected by it. And I know nobody likes anything being forced on them. Nobody. Now, if you brought it on yourself, that's a different story. But outright, nah. Especially you deal with men. I've learned dealing with men. I don't care in all nationality. As long as I'm fair and honest with them, or as long as I'm gonna be fair and honest with them, I can get their attention. But if I'm gonna come in and try to overpower them with some form of force and some more authority figure or this and that, I'm gonna clash. You're gonna always clash with people because of the difference in personality. That's normal. But once they see if you being fair and honest with them, they give in or they accept you. You get their attention. How do I know? I already been there. I seen it. I done it. So when I look at this situation out here and how it raises all kinds of red flags, because no matter what we dealing with, what we do, what we try to do, we're gonna have to go through the people. And we got to be able to deal with the people. And if we don't understand how the people think and how the people got to that point, we have a lost cause. And whenever you go dealing with the people, you got to have some direction for them. On a construction site, we have to have a direction for the contractor. Else everybody going to be doing whatever they want, however they want. You have to establish some form of order, some form of objective in dealing with all this here stuff. We had to do that in order to keep ahead of what we're doing. It's important that we learn how to deal with the people. But only how we can deal with the people, we have to have their best interests at heart. They'll do anything you want. As long as you show their best interests at heart. They used to ask me, how did you get these people to do this? I would say, I asked them. You asked them. Yeah, you asked them? Yeah. But they also seen I had their best interests at heart. I wasn't out to take advantage of them and abuse them. I'm out here to work with them, make sure they benefit from whatever we was doing. And then I would go on. And those tactics, those approach, I still use them today. I still use them today. And I always look forward to dealing with the people. As James say, I'll be around the message. I like dealing with the people. I like being that servant to the people. Not a flunky, but a servant. Giving them a word to the right point them in the direction towards right. That's what I enjoy that. That is something that I usually look forward in doing. Especially now with this halal industry, we want to go, oh, I got something good. I got a direction that's something good. But we have to get each other attention first. And if we don't get their attention, we can never get to their heart. And that is our whole salvation from a religious standpoint. It's clean up, get control over your heart. I see how the people around here, they be saying, I love you, man. I love you. I love you. Yeah. Yeah. Do you love Allah? And if you love Allah, loving any of his creatures is no problem, from what I see. That's why that road we came, that journey we came, we changed that condition of our heart. When we became a believer, we substitute that pain in our heart, that peace in our heart, through the grace of Allah. That is my understanding of the direction we came, the purpose of how we came about doing it. That's just me. Somebody else might have another opinion or another approach. But I stand by that because I experienced that and I seen that. And when I go deal with the people, again, you have their best interests at heart. Now, I got to look out for those who want to take advantage of you, treat you like you're some nut. Because they there. That's why got to be fair and honest, or protector of what we establish. We protect our soul. We protect our approach. Lord said we're to protect and to maintain women, the community, and even ourselves. And you're going to always protect something that you establish. You ain't going to let anybody come and tap dance all on your soul. You have to push back or be able to push back in fairness, not in rudeness, not in selfishness, protecting what we established. This is what all we are building around and establishing the halal approach. This is the main reason where the halal approach come about. We done became that believer. Now we ready to deal with everything or deal with mankind as well as our kind. The halal approach. We done cleaned our life up. We done turned our life from the wrong side to the right side. And how they said the top is going to come to bottom and bottom going to come to top. Halal is on an uprise. It's just a matter of time where everybody going to be speaking about halal on their tongue, striving to live a halal lifestyle, have a halal atmosphere. It's just a matter of time. Everything starts with a seed, and we keep nourishing it, and it's going to flow. It's going to grow. I know that because I've seen how Islam in the city of Philadelphia, how it grew. How it grew out of nowhere. They used to say, what is it, 100,000 Muslims here in the city, in the Delaware Valley? Well, regardless, just Philadelphia alone, you had Muslims all over the city. And that was all started with a few hands building that criteria, standing up. for what they believed in. And it's the same thing with Halal. We done came that route, and it's almost like you give back to the community. Show what you know. Show the people. Show your wealth. Give that wealth back to the people. The people will welcome you with open arms because I'm sure they're tired of all this madness that's going on. They're tired of it. They even thinking, one person I heard the lady said, the world is going to come to an end. I said, yeah, you sure right, miss. That world is coming to an end. There's another world, it's just the beginning of it. And that's the halal, the wholesome, not a meat. This is why we have to work hard to be as one, to function as one. Because right now, the way the people is going, what they living, how they living individually. And the society is abusing them, taking advantage of them, unmercifully. We move as one, society couldn't touch it. Look what the people did down there, to go back during the civil rights, if I can use that there, when they had the bus strike. I don't know if that was in Alabama, Binghamton, or whatever. But all the people wrote, huh? Atlanta? No, it wasn't Atlanta.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But nevertheless, they rallied together. Those who, Binghamton, Montgomery, I know it was in Alabama somewhere, but they all rose together. Those who had cars picked up everybody and helped them get around.
Bus boycott.
Yeah, the bus boycott. But that was a strike for humanity, to get respect from humanity. That's different from a strike for
a year, more than a year.
It lasted, and Brian telling me it lasted over a year. That is, but they did it in oneness. They did it as a group, unified. That's why they were successful. You try to go out and go on strike by yourself, you be striking by yourself. Somebody else will come and strike you and hit you, to knock you out of the way. But this, I'm saying all this is that it's going to take the unification, the force of the people moving as one in order to get the society attention. Right now, this strike that we're talking about right now, that's not getting that society attention. It's a battle between the city government and the union. It ain't got nothing to do with the people. Don't have nothing to do with the people. And don't think those other unions here is watching it, because they're going to do the same thing. That's why I was saying, collectively, you can't check that. You go collectively, no, you might got the muscle, but we make the decisions, rewrite the rules. We have to rewrite the rules. How are you going about dealing with the public? That's my stand. And I got a background with the union, but I got a greater background with the people. I got a greater background with the people. That's where, to me, the power, the source is from, not with the union. It's with the people. Allah moves through the people. The people is the one who supports you. The people is the one who help you make it or break you. It's not the system. The system take advantage of everything. And this is why it's important that we can sit down and put everything on the table. There's no way you can go down and you can sit and negotiate with people, and you can't walk out with a decision unless somebody is trying to strong arm you. No way. No way that can happen. No way that can happen. There's no way that can happen. Anytime you can sit down and we can resolve every issue that come across the table. It all depends if that's what you want. But we still living with this society where they influence those who are in leadership. Sometimes with an envelope. Sometimes you have something on them to hold them hostage. And even sometimes through just an old lie. This is how this society works. And who's going to benefit from it? People not benefiting from it. Okay, they might get a raise. But the same society is going to take majority of that raise back from them. This is why I was saying, look, Pete, look at what's going on around you. And then we can see how we're going to be able to function with this society. They're going to have to give us an ear. They're going to have to give us an ear because nothing's going to get better. It's going to get worse. We already been around with each other where we established a wholesome atmosphere, had everybody working fairly. We already did that. So we already know what we're looking at. And when we sit up here and thank you. And when we sit back and look at it again, we know what we're looking at, and we can help resolve some of the issues that's going on around. That's why it's important that we be an example, an image of what we're talking about. We're not just going through the motion, lip professing it. I sit back and I tell you about what I see and what we're doing and what we did. I'm not out here to teach the world, but we're out here to show the world what we can do. So it's very important that we pay attention to that. We got a special guest. Our brother just came, just happened to mosey on it. That's Brian Ali, and he's probably itching to get on because he comes in and he throws his paperwork down on you and make sure he's there. Yeah, and yeah, and I look forward to that because he's always the same way every week. The same guy, yeah, and we look forward to that. You understand? Because we can feed off of each other energy, because that's all we got is energy. That energy that's make everything go, make everything move. So, James, what you ready for another PSA?
Yeah, let me do that.
All right, we're going to have another PSA, and from that PSA, we're going to bring on our beloved brother, the professor, Brian Ali. All right, this is Nate Muhammad again, the Halal industry. Do for self.
Assalamu alaikum. James Bashir, Halal Industry, do for self. CWSC, Model Community National Resource Directory. The MCNRD is where you can connect to assist you in your efforts of nonprofit or for-profit interests. Individuals with more social concerns can connect you with our Volunteer Human Resource Network, CWSC's VHRN information can be shared as to who, when, and or where. Go to cwsc.us and click on Join CWSC. Do not forget to click on the blue donate button.
Okay. All right, thank you, James. Just heard the announcements from James and Bashir. Right now, we had the professor on. Let's see if he's ready to come on. No, not yet. But in the meantime, I just want to just keep that out in front. The service to the people. Being an example for the people. Having a word to the right to the people. A direction towards how we're going to deal with mankind. I ain't got to worry about, again, as I said earlier, don't have to worry about being in charge of all the people. You just want to make the rules to help direct the people. Because this is why they're not moving off of people. They're moving off the rules and regulation that is in counting. And they don't even have no control over those rules and regulations. That's why they can always tell you, oh, I'm only doing my job. I'm only doing what I was told. Yeah. Somebody else rewrote the rule. What we want to do is get in and write some rules. Write down some more rules. It's just like our rule, we know that if we unify, we can be successful. We know if we do for ourselves, we can be successful. We know we have a model community. We can function better ourselves. We know that. It's just a matter of time that we. But right now, like I like to bring on Brian Ali, professor. You know, he's from Mashie because he enjoyed being in the presence of the Mashie. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. I want to thank the brothers for allowing me to once again come before you and share a few syllables. Just a few thoughts that I have, and that came to me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be truthful. I changed what I was going to say late last night. You know, something else made me aware of something. And some of the predicaments that are happening right now. My neighbors are probably wondering, why are people acting the way they're acting? Why are they doing the things they're doing? It seems to fly in the face of reason, fly in the face of logic. Why are these people choosing people who are clearly unqualified to be in qualified positions, to be in strong positions? Why would they exercise that option, especially when it's become clear, in fact, crystal clear, that these people have no merit, have no worth, personal sense of self-worth, and are admitted liars, admitted thieves, perverts, degenerates, and admit to it, openly admit to it, and then try to pretend as though that is not even a significant thing. So that's been on my mind for the last couple of days when I'm watching the things that take place. And then I came across a saying on Penn Interest said, made me become, I believe, more aware of what's taking place and why it's taking place. And you let me know if I'm in the ballpark, if I'm saying it correctly. And here's what it is. It's simply this. The ignorant are ignorant of their ignorance. Let me say that again. The ignorant are ignorant of their ignorance.
They don't know they're being ignorant?
Well, let me explain. Well, let me explain.
Oh, okay.
The ignorant choose to not or ignore what they don't like, what they don't comprehend, what they don't understand, what does not fit into the narrative that they believe in. They ignore it. So let's take the word ignorance, which is a noun, and let's put it in the form of a verb, ignore.
Mm.
They choose to just ignore what they don't like. Their ignorance is because they have ignored something for a long enough time where they cannot even comprehend or analyze something as to its validity. And what is it that they ignore? They ignore the truth.
Mm.
Whatever truth there is that they don't like, they simply choose, and immaturely so, to ignore it. As a child would turn away and say, no, 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 there really is a Santa Claus, there really is a tooth fairy, Easter bunny, etc. A child can be excused for that kind of behavior because they have not formulated the intellect necessary to refute a lie. Those of us who are adults and have some semblance of intelligence should be able to easily refute things like that. Say, oh, go ahead, you quit playing. You know that's not true. But pervasively, more and more people are believing the lies being told to them by officials or politicians, in particular, the ones who snuck in the White House through the back door and now are pretending to be bona fide, to be legitimate. But it is their vulnerability and the insecurities that keep making them be ignorant. They are ignoring the fact that they are ignorant or void of the necessary information, the necessary knowledge to make the necessary assessment. Let me slow down a little bit. To make the necessary assessment of the truth. Because once that truth comes, the lie can no longer exist. For instance, white supremacy is a lie.
Absolutely.
They know it's a lie, and they've always known it was a lie, but they have preached it and taught it so long till they want it to be right. Hitler swore that the Aryan race was superior. And in Berlin, when they held the Olympics, he stood in the stands waiting for his Aryan brothers to be victorious athletically. And then our brother Jesse Owens came in and obliterated the nonsense known as white supremacy. What did Hitler do? Got up,
Walked out.
turned and walked out. Is that right?
Yes.
Turned and walked out. Why? Because he chose to ignore the fact that what he just said, what he just purported to be true, what he has expelled over the years he was in power from being the chancellor and etc., had just been erased, destroyed in front of the world. On the world stage, it was destroyed and he couldn't stand it, so he chose to ignore it.
Mm.
And that's something he chose to ignore it.
Because of the lie.
Because of what? Say it again.
Because of the lie.
Because of a lie. So the ignorant are ignorant of their ignorance because they choose to deny the light that we need to bring them back in the fold of truth is just that, truth. Truth is a bright light, a resounding light that the darkness of ignorance cannot hide from. The darkness, the ignorance need the darkness to manipulate, to replicate, to become something, an entity in and of itself. But it is parasitic because it must have a host to produce or to generate the lie and then propagate the lie. When the truth comes, it destroys the lie.
Mm. That's right.
They begin again to turn away now. So these politicians now, when they're caught in lies, they double down on the lie, or they'll turn away from the lie, or actually turn away from the person asking them a truthful question, seeking a truthful response. They turn away. All of a sudden, they're not legitimate. They're fake news. They're not real. And then they resort to, as children, name calling. Or he's dumb. He's low intelligence. They're stupid. He might as well call him a duty head, because that's all he's doing, is doing what children do when they're caught in a lie, when they're caught with someone who can give evidence to what they're saying is not true. They don't have the capacity to change, to adapt. So they go with a lie, and with a lie, and with another lie. The truth illuminates things. The lie cannot exist in the bright light that truth brings. The bright light of truth is always there. It never goes away, just as the sun is always there. On a cloudy day, it would be dark if the sun wasn't there. The clouds are just trying to block the light, and they have a modicum of success. But guess what? The sun is still there. The only time it's dark is when what happens? The earth, rotating on its axis, turns away from the sun. Turning away from the truth is where the darkness comes in. And as long as we are there and in the darkness, the lies can continue to lie. And they say with such passion and with such force that a lot of people who don't have the capability to understand that they are liars and they're lying to them, and they do it with such repetitiveness till they accept it. It's like, well, it must be true. Nobody said anything about it. It must be true. It must be all right. But just as the earth is turned away from the sun, and it gives the appearance of darkness, if you look up, you will see the moon is still there, reflecting the truth from the sun and still shining on what? The earth. And actually has a gravitational pull on what? The earth. A reminder that the truth is still there. All we have to do is be patient. And guess what? Like the song say, and here come the sun. Here come the truth. Mm-hmm. All we have to do is be patient. All we have to do is patiently persevere. But realize something, that the sun is always there. Realize that the truth is always there. So how do we deal with these liars? How do we deal with these prevaricators? How do we deal with these fabricators? Those who try to build up on falsehood instead of building up on the sound principles of discerning the truth and then living. We have to become truth tellers ourselves. We have to be the shining light of truth that will emanate from out of us, from out of our mouths, from out of our spirit, so that when the liars come, they don't feel comfortable. The bright light is affecting them. They are trying to get away from you. But if everywhere they go and everyone they see is telling the truth, they get further and further away. We can, as Malcolm used to say, you don't need a plate. You don't need a weapon. All you need is the truth, and you can chase them down the street with just the truth. And that's something, chasing them down the street with just the truth. So right now, I know it looks grim because, again, the liars are sitting in positions of authority. They're Senator so-and-so, they're Congresswoman so-and-so. They're in the current occupant of the White House. Well, wait a minute. If lying is so bad, how did they get to be that way? Because we are not shining the bright light of truth on them. We're not making them feel uncomfortable lying. And because they are lying, people are dying. Take a look over in Gaza. Take a look over in the Middle East where they're now bombing. What was the cause to act on that? What made them want to bomb? Isn't that interesting? We've got to stop allowing not just those liars, not just the prominent liars, not just the ones in front of the microphone. We've got to stop allowing the coworkers. We've got to stop allowing the family members. We've got to stop allowing the neighbors to lie to us. You don't have to be mean about it, but you must call them out. You must say, I don't think that's true. In fact, this and this and this and this is evidence that that is not the case. Oh, well, it's true. It's true. Well, where is your evidence? Give me the facts that provide you with the statement you made and help stand it upright. Well, everybody knows that. This is some of the statements they make. It's true. Everybody knows that. Okay, well, give me a couple of names so I can ask them. I'll say that's it. Are you just trying to be difficult? No, I'm trying to ascertain the truth. I'm trying to turn towards the light because the light is the truth.
That's right.
If we become those who want the truth, want to speak the truth, and want to live the truth, then we must embrace the truth and stop embracing the lie and stop embracing the liar. Unless you're going to bear hug them and squeeze the lie right out of them so they can understand what you're trying to say. Because Shaitan does not stop. Shaitan is relentless. We must have the same intestinal fortitude as the sun. The sun does not deviate. The sun does not move. The sun does not change. In fact, if you say the sun set, it is actually not factually true. If you say the sun rise or rose, again, it is not true. It is the earth that is moving, but it's more comfortable for us to say that the earth is not moving, but the sun, which is many, 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 many times larger than this large earth that we're on. Yet this earth, which can rotate on its axis, which in 24 hours, it will turn back to where it was originally. This earth, which will orbit around the sun, and in our case, takes about 365 days or so, 66 maybe on a leap year, to go around, completely around the sun. Now this attests to the fact that we have different changes of climate. It's science. It's not something that you need to speculate about. It just is what it is. And if we're not willing to take these evidentiary facts and analyze them and then understand that this is one of the bases of us bringing the truth first to ourselves, then exchanging those ideas with each other, and then developing a society that is based on truth, not based on lies, not lies that they can go out and then attack another country that never attacked you. Why would you? What authorization did you get to do that? None. So bombs don't discriminate. Bombs kill wherever it lands. That means you could be killing somebody's mother, somebody's baby, somebody's grandma. You're blowing up hospitals and schools. Why is that? Is this what a Christian would do? Yet many evangelicals back the initiator of this. Why is that? We don't see the hand and what is being dealt. All we're seeing right now is the constant display of theatrics. Oh, what do you do today? What did he say today? Oh, he's just crazy. No, we have to get in alignment, and as Brother Nate said, and begin to join on with each other. Aligning our minds together, aligning our hearts together, aligning our economics together so that we become a force and so that we can begin to initiate change that will be substantial and that will be, for the most part, permanent. See, many of these so-called billionaires, they have an ulterior motive and they have the resources to implement certain things that will facilitate what they want to bring about. They plan, but Allah plans.
Best of planners.
And Allah is, say that again, Nate?
Best of planners.
The best of planners. They thought we would be obliterated by now, having the history of hundreds of years of the most savage, the most brutal slavery in the recorded history. And yet here we are walking around, still sane.
Taking a licking, still ticking.
Taking a licking and still ticking. That shows you how old that brother is right there. But we took the licking and we're doing better than ticking. We're doing better than surviving. Some of us are just trying to survive, but many of us are getting more than survival. We are thriving in a economic community, in a political society, in a social entity that is not geared toward us. It was not designed to be about us. Look at the Constitution. Why did they have to make amendments to the Constitution? Because they didn't have us in mind when they wrote the Constitution. Yet, we're supposed to fall under it. And yet, we can go to court and demand our rights. Sometimes we're successful. Sometimes we're not. We need to know where we are. And we also need to establish, and let me conclude, we need to establish the narrative that is us. Why? Because the lie is the narrative that lazy, unintelligent, shiftless, trifling, criminal-minded, terrorists, savages. Yeah. Say that again, Nate. Savages. How could we, who come from the origin of the earth in Mother Africa, who had a civilized society long before the Europeans had come down out of the caves, long before they had civility, long before they had laws, our ancestors were doctors, engineers, architects, scientists, and we're the savages? They have been maligning us for years and exporting. Well, they're exporting the lie across the globe, and they're exporting it so that others that come here, even our African brothers, we look suspect to them because they've been told a narrative that does not fit. Here, even the ones who come from Muslim countries, they hold back, they hesitate, they look from afar. They never really come in and join in with the indigenous believers because they were told a narrative. When you're told something, you're supposed to what? Ascertain the truth. Is that right?
That's right. Islamically,
I asked them to ascertain the truth. Don't just come here for the fun of it. And don't just come here so that you can show us the proper way. We've been at this a long time. We have this. We know the religion. We practice the religion. If you have connections that can get us a foothold and a stronghold into the economics and the politics and the infrastructure of success, why don't you share? What are you waiting for? See, Shaitan is a whisperer. And when he whispers, he sends doubt. And with doubt comes hesitation. But when you're looking for something to go wrong, you will always find a way for it to go wrong. But if you want it to go right, you will look for a way to make it right. What are we looking for? I mentioned last week, what you do frequently is your frequency that you vibe on, that you operate on. We've got to get in tune with the proper vibration and understand that we are part of creation, just as this earth, this dirt can sustain our life. We must also realize that the Shaitan, the original liar, is still trying to lie to us. Is still trying to keep us away from being our true selves. And when I say us, I mean all of us, all of humanity, all of mankind is his enemy. He avowed that. It is mankind, it's our father Adam who was told, tell them the nature of their selves. And he just proceeded to do so. And then Allah said, bow down to my creature. And all except Iblis did. He said, what? Well, I'm made from fire. You made him from earth and dirt. But Brother Nate, doesn't dirt put out fire? Puts it out completely. So why would he think fire is better than earth? It's the earth that we belong to. It's the earth that we can take a seed. Although you cannot eat the earth, you can put a seed in the earth. Watch that seed germinate. Watch it become a plant. Watch it become a tree. And then eat from the fruit of that tree, which has pulled the nutrients you need to exist out of the soil that you could never digest. That is a creation. That didn't happen in a Big Bang theory. That is evidence, bar none, that there is a creator and we were all created. We didn't create ourselves. We didn't create the mountains. We didn't create the air. Try to stop breathing and see if you can, or try to ask somebody, look, man, I ain't got no air in my house. Can you bring me some air? They can't generate air. They can manufacture oxygen and put it in a tank. How long is that going to last? And actually, where did they manufacture it from? See, we are creative, but we are not the creators. And so we must be appreciative of the creator bringing forth this creation for us. He don't need us. He don't need the earth. He don't need anything that he created. It was out of benevolence that he gave us this earth. Man, oh man, he gave us this earth. Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? Well, every time you ignore the fact that there is a God, you are denying the favor of Allah. The deniers are liars. They deny that this took place and they deny that that took place and they deny that you have a right to have this or that. The ignorant are even ignorant of their ignorance. So we must take it upon ourselves to illuminate their ignorance right in their face so they can see it. They can smell it. They can taste their ignorance. And if that don't change them, then there's nothing that we can do except wait on Allah to change their heart. Because it's the ignorance that has obstructed their faith, their real faith. The faith that I'm in here with these brothers have faith. No, you can't touch it, but you can feel it. You can't see it, but it is there. Some people masquerade as though they have it, and you find out that they don't. It is, without a doubt, the way we have to be, the way we're going to be, the way we must continue to be. As sure as the sun is there, as sure as the earth has always been here, we have to continue to be truthful purveyors, truthful, honest purveyors of what? The truth. And remove our ignorance. Because ignorance just means you're ignoring something. You're turning away from something because it doesn't fit with what you think is right. It doesn't fit with the narrative that you think is you. It doesn't fit with the narrative that you think other people are. And propagating out all around the world about us is a lie for the most part. But also, the narrative that they are propagating about themselves is also a lie. As I said before, white supremacy is a lie. They have digested it and regurgitated it back out to us to accept as truth. But what they don't realize is that many people are now, through the social medias, TikTok, Big Bob, YouTube, whatever, they're now expounding on truth. They've done the research. See, they don't want us to know our history, and they keep saying, "Oh man, you trying to be woke," because our history, truthfully told, will change the dynamics of the whole world. Because we are no longer going to fall asleep based on the little narrative. They can no longer give us a pacifier. Say, I'm introducing a bill that will help you, and the bill never is brought to the floor and never passed. See, any mother knows a baby, if that baby is not hungry, she can get a pacifier. It has a nipple on it. It looks like the bottle. It looks like her nipple. And if I can say that, and the baby might go back to sleep because it didn't really want anything. But when the baby's hungry, baby spits out the pacifier. It'll suck on it for a minute. No, it starts crying again. You can't pacify us anymore because we're too mature for that. We know we are hungry for the truth. We are starving for the truth. And we're going to get the truth, whether you freely give it or we have to go in and acquire it. And I'm saying it in the nicest way I can. We have to acquire the truth, the real truth, the gospel truth. Anyway, I've gone on too long. I know that. I feel that. My throat is feeling it. But I had and felt compelled to say what I said today. I hope it is being recorded as the woman came on and said, so that maybe I can hear what I just said. And if I made a mistake, I hope that you have it within your ability to forgive the mistake. But if I said something correct, something that touched the nerve, something that touched your heart, spread it around. Illuminate. Because that truth, spread the word. Nate says, spread the truth. I said, spread the word. And what's the word? Truth is the word. Because in that one word, we can solve all of our problems.
Solution right in our
It is the solution. What? With difficulty come ease. That means within the difficulty, the answer is already in the difficulty if you just analyze it. I stole that from Nate, but he don't mind. If you look at it and see that the difficulty that you're facing, the answer to the difficulty is already in the difficulty that you're facing. If you'll just turn and analyze it and reduce it to its elementary components and then say, wait a minute, let me ascertain the truth out of this situation, and then I can do what I need to do. Man, oh man, we're on the verge now. As quiet as it kept, we're on the verge now of being in a place we haven't been before, but in a place that we were always headed for. And I can't wait. How about you, brother? How about you, brother James? Can you wait? I can't even wait because I feel that it's coming on. We just need nothing. Nothing. But they are trying.
Oh, yeah, they're going to try.
And they're trying hard because check it out. You think our father Adam was just asked one time by Shaitan about the apple? No, he was persistent. Persistent. And then he went to his spouse who was close to him, who came from him and got her to do his dirty work as he's been doing from then on. And after a while, we just give up. Never give up. Never stop. Is the sun shining where you are? Does it stop shining because you had a good day? Does it stop shining because you had a bad day? No, the sun is the sun. We must, and the truth is the truth. Use that light, and it will never be able to put you in darkness ever, ever again. With those words, I want to turn this over. I want to turn this and return this like a baton to the leader, the one and only Nate Muhammad. So I leave you as I greeted you with the greetings of peace. Ay, salam alaikum.
Yes, dear beloved people. That was Brian Ali, better known as the professor. You see how he, doctor, created a whole narrative. And everything at it, like how he do it. It amazed me. I just enjoy it. You understand? Because again, we all has a tendency to feed off of each other's energy. This is how we make everything happen. This is how we get around. That if one person is not here, another one step right into place, and everything continue on. And as he said, we said this earlier. There's nothing we can do for anybody to stop this. This is going to happen. Whether we're going to be here to see it or not, it's going to happen. I don't even have to see it because I know it's going to happen. Within my heart, I know it's going to happen. Why? Because we done gave our heart to Allah. That journey we came in, we established in halal, a halal atmosphere. And Brian said the truth will knock out the falsehood. More than we see ourselves. We just don't know it. But if we know Allah is Akbar, that's all I need to know. And I'm going to leave and stay right in tune with how Allah rolled with it, regardless what happened with me. I did doing my part. This is what I wanted to do, to be. Those who going to go down, we going down in history with the halal industry as the ones that was out front. Sharing our wealth, our experience, our know-how. That's all. That's what matters to me. I can mosey move around here at the masjid. It's fine with me. But they're gonna know I'm about halal. They're gonna know we're establishing the halal industry. And as it pick up, as that falsehood be on the run, the Halal Institute will be coming down. This is our time. This is our time to be heard. We thank AM 360 for establishing a platform in order to share our wealth. And all those who are involved in it, we thank them. All those who make it happen for us to be able to present what's on our heart. That's what it motivates me. When I get a feel for what's in a person's heart, that's what I enjoy because we can see it. As Brian said, you can feel it. As Brian said, you can feel it. That radiance that's evolving off of each other. And we look forward to that. That's why I said we look forward to all this. That's why I know this is going to happen. And that same spirit is going to be in our people, the African American descendants of slavery, whether these people accept it or not. Our people get caught up in the religion and forget the way of life, not somebody else's way of life, our way of life and how we institute the religion in our life to get from point A to point Z. That is what's going to be documented.
But I think they're trying to get caught up in the ritualistic part of the religion, but that's not enough.
Yeah, well, but again, this is what we have to establish that. We establish it by our action, not by our conversation. You know, conversation is being directed, but our action makes everything move because that introduces ourselves to the people, to the world, to society. Them guys ain't playing. You know, they mean business. You know, how, like I said earlier tonight, how did Islam was established here in the Delaware Valley, Philadelphia, Pacific, is by some courageous people that wanted to step out with Allah blessing, because nothing wouldn't have happened without Allah's permission. So I know Allah was behind. So this is where we want to establish this criteria. You know, this is where we want to establish this here. Okay. This is where we want to establish our criteria. Show our face in the place. When they see us, they gonna see Halal. Because that's all it is. It's Halal. 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 As Brown be saying about the ignorance of the ignorant of the ignorant. That will clarify everything. Because why? As I said, it started with Allah. Everything started out here with Allah. How you clear up a lie? With the truth. Boom. That's how you clarify the lie. And only how you clarify the lie is being fair and honest. And being an example of what you're talking about. Not depending on somebody else to give you advice and direction. That's in all the direction. We create our own path. That path was already notched without dates coming from the Nation of Islam. It was already sketched. And all we had to do was stay focused on our objective. Where a lot of people always want you to denounce your background. That's just like denouncing your parents. There's no way you can do that. That's part of me.
You must acknowledge the womb that bore you.
You must acknowledge the womb, rather the womb that bore you. Yeah. And this is all we have to do. And this is where the halal atmosphere come in to remind us. When they come with that stuff, ascertain the truth. That is the key. When you come and sit here and denounce something, we get your information from. Oh, I heard it from somebody that's. No. You have to have 2, 3, maybe 4 witnesses. You just can't just sit up there and say nothing. That's our people. We always talk loud and don't know nothing.
Talking loud and saying nothing.
Yeah. But that's how we are. But we have all the ammunition, like Brian had just said, with no gun. We don't need a gun. We don't need to get our point across. We be an example, be an image of what we're talking about, and be able to back up what we're talking about. So that means when you come against us, you got to be able to back up what you're talking about, exactly. What you're about, or else you ain't gonna come. And if they can't back up, if they can't back it up, they ain't coming.
I'm correct. They don't come at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh? How much? 2. Yeah. Okay. That's
5.
7. But yeah. But again, thankful with Brian. He just took it to another level and look at it from another side, another point of view. And that's how we look at everything from each point of view. Everybody they see things different. Law made us all different, so we can learn from each other. In order for us to learn from each other, we have to have each other attention. So you have to be able to listen. Now, once you can, and you can pick up, and we're all talking the same thing, we camel back on each other. The supporter, looking forward to, that there, we just want to share our wealth. That's all we want to do. And we've been, almost. I see that hand up. I'm sorry, sister. Go ahead, Ed. You got the floor. No, you got the floor.
Greetings to you.
My son.
That's okay. I'm glad. I just waited to do it. So, inshallah, you look over there and see it because I was waiting, but I was trying to wait. Yeah. But they not seeing it. So I'm going to try to jump in there when I can,
That's all right. It's okay.
Alhamdulillah. For you, Brother James and Brother Nate, I just want to, this is the Preetha Abdul-Azeez, and I'm calling in from Flint, Michigan, and assalamu alaikum to you all and to the Zoom listenership and Facebook and everybody that's listening. Alhamdulillah. I appreciate you so kindly for every week. I try to be on and listen to you, and this week I even have my son listening in to you because what you all be saying, it's resonating. It's resonating. It's being taught. And usually when the younger folks be hearing it, and they hearing it from another younger person, I have to tell my son, so that young man is about you all's age. So listen up what he's saying now. So you don't have to just take it from me being your parent, your mom, So I just wanted to thank you all so kindly, and I do appreciate the work that you're doing. And may Allah continue to bless you in it. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, sister. We appreciate your comments and your kind words. And that all that's going to do is motivate us to continue. Even though we're already motivated, we motivate each other to continue this here because it's the ongoing struggle.
I'm ready to start next week.
Because no matter, as long as we're on this earth, we're going to struggle. So we already seen the blueprint. And all we have to do is fortify and build our whole criteria around that blueprint and continue on. So we get hardship. So we get a little struggle. But every hardship comes easy. We know that. So that it's nothing. We don't fall apart.
Right. Yes, sir. But thank you so kindly.
Yeah, and, I appreciate you too, sir. And we hope we look forward to next week, another edition of the Halal industry here with James Bashir, Brian Ali, and Nate Muhammad. And we also do a dua for Imam Bilal and hope him a speedy recovery. You understand? Because he's still with us. If he ain't sitting right near us, he's here with its spirit. Right. And he's going to always be here, just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Imam Muhammad and Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be, is always with us because that's the road we came. And we never forget where we came from. So with that, I thank you again. And we want to...
you got another hand.
Assalamu alaikum.
My son, we got another hand. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Bashir. Thank you for your excellent presentation last week and this week. This is Sister Khalidah Akbar. I come on right after you, and I'm trying to take the host seat from whoever has it, and I don't see that option. You say by your name is the host, so if you would just relinquish it when you're ready. But okay, thank you for your presentation.
Right now.
Okay.
Is that okay?
No, I'm not rushing you.
No, that's all right. We appreciate it. I'm not mad. You understand?
What do you think of the show? What do we do?
Come on, leave that sister alone. We appreciate your comments and your thoughtfulness, and we know that we got to get out of here 5 minutes up. to make sure
No,
you can
you
get.
don't. No, really. I just don't see the take host seat option, and usually you see it. So if you can help me out, I appreciate it. And thank you for your program. Assalamu
Yes, ma'am.
alaikum.
Thank you too, sister. So with that, the halal industry, do for self. We'll see you next week. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Salam. I'm gonna have to. It doesn't give you that option to take the host seat. Okay, so we're trying to relate. If there's some, I'm gonna go in host tools. We don't want what happened last week to happen again and lose the people already here. And we have a guest speaker who's coming on as well. So we'll just log back in you in a few minutes. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up. Is Imam Shahid Abdullah already with us? He's not with us yet. So let's go ahead and open up with Al-Fatiha. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waliddallin. Ameen. Alhamdulillah, this is Sister Khalidah Akbar, not program manager, but CEO of American Muslim 360 and facilitator for Narrative Aspirations. When we aspire, we go higher. Join us each and every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. as we highlight the believers in our community who use their God-given talents to help remake the world into a better place for all people. Tonight, we are going to be talking with Imam Shahid Abdullah. He is going to highlight his new book, but we're going to look a little bit past culture. We know that culture is very important for us as people, as one human family, to strive and be productive. We have to know who we are and know where we're going to go. And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the detailed descriptive language as far as race and culture and how we can better put that into perspective that we are one human family and that we are united in this life by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And our goal is to build model communities for all people. He should be joining us in just a few minutes. However, I do want to focus on that tonight. Let me make sure and check to see if he has joined us as of yet. And just give me just a second. Right. So while we're waiting for Imam Shahid Abdullah, we're going to talk a little bit about the IWDM 50 event that is going on August 1st to the 3rd in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We ask that you go ahead to the IWDM 50 website and go ahead and register to attend. We are going to be looking at Imam Wafdi Muhammad Rahim Allah Alayh, his legacy, his logic, and also where do we go from here? You're going to have several presenters or presentations based on the decades from 1975 all the way up to 2008. And we ask that you join us and be able to uh, join in not only on the conversations, but offer some strategic solutions for moving forward, and also share what you are already doing in your ummah, in your community at large. We have Imam Shahid Abdullah, who has just joined us, and we want you to know that he is one of the imams in our community who has been present for several years and actively engaged in his community. He is also the author of several books. And today we're going to be talking about not just culture, the culture is very relevant and important, even to the IWDM 50 event that is coming up, but it's also very essential to our growth and development as human beings and connecting with other people in a positive manner. So tonight we're going to look at how we can look at the descriptive language that is being used by us as African Americans, and also by Imam Shahid Abdullah in his books, and look at how that would impact maybe someone who is not of the African American heritage, and how we can maximize cohesiveness and minimize the differences, and also take accountability for our own resources and our own journey to building a model community for all people. So at this time, I want you to know that also that he is an African American griot. He studies African American culture, and he is very active in the community at large, not just the Muslim community, but the community at large. I want him to start by sharing what he has recently done in the most recent community event that he has been able to be a part of through his invitations and his connections in the community. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Shahid Abdullah, and welcome to Narrative Aspirations. When we aspire, we go higher. Your mic is muted. If you can unmute your mic and share the most recent activity that you attended in reference to building a model community for all people, and how you were invited and how that is helping you build bridges and also build those model communities.
Okay, I believe I have it unmuted now. Thank you very much, and assalamu alaikum, Sister Khalidah. I'm very glad to be on your program once again. Am I coming through? Can you hear?
Loud and clear. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Well, I have been blessed to be part of some of the things that have been going on, dealing with our culture and dealing with our growth and development in the world. Just recently, my wife and I was invited to watch a play about Sister Clara down in D.C. And of course, most of you probably know Sister Layla's the granddaughter of Sister Clara, and so she had a lot of information as to the particulars about Sister Clara and her, I would say, evolution in the Nation of Islam and religion, which was sort of quick for that growth that they went through during that particular time. But the performance was absolutely great. It was one of the better performances that I've seen in terms of plays and things of that nature. It was so detailed. And by detail, I mean it was so impacting about the reality of what happened and what was perceived by others to have happened. It was very, very powerful. And the actress was tremendous in her presentation. It was a one-woman show. It didn't have any other characters but the one woman, and she played Sister Clara in different parts of her evolution and the impact that it had on her life and the life of others, especially sisters that she was involved with, and of course her husband, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and her son, Imam R.D. Muhammad. But it was just something to behold and grab a earful, a heartful, and be just full of all this energy that the actress was putting into that performance and the knowledge that was coming from it, just tremendous. So that was a blessing. And in line with much of what I talk about in my findings. And as Sister Khalidah mentioned, I am an African Bilalian American griot, and many of you have some of my books in regards to the search and research of the African American people. And I had come to find in that search and research that there's so much about our culture that we missed. And it's very difficult. It borders on impossible, really, for people to join in the ranks of humanity without having a sound foundation of their culture. And when people do not have a sound foundation of their culture, they just cannot join in the ranks of humanity. They have no place. There's no seat at the table. See, so it's vital. And my research just not only testifies to that, but continuously in every aspect proves that. Imam Muhammad had given a speech some years ago talking about the very aspect of culture. And he mentioned that we have a flaw in our development that's taking place because we accept the opinion about culture and our culture from other people. The way they tell us in terms of how our culture is part of a dance culture, our culture is part of a hip hop culture, all those aspects that tend to keep a negative view on the impact of culture and the impact it have on our self-identity. If we don't have a positive self-identity about ourselves, then there's just no way that we really can advance as a people. And the positive identification of self actually comes from the knowledge of your culture. See, we have been told that our culture is just a piece of history and just read about it and then forget about it. That's not what culture is. Culture instills the values and the ideas and concepts, the language, the direction, the beginning and the middle and the future that all of this tells for that particular culture. If a culture can't see its past and exercise what it sees in the present, it has no future. This is why the African American people having such a terrible time in advancing into the future, advancing into this world is changing so fast that we can barely keep ourselves afloat. One year, one civilization is taking over the East, and another civilization is bringing out with the new airplanes or the new jets, and everything is moving so fast around us. The only light we see about ourselves is the little glimmer of light that we see sometimes from individuals, from our beginning, from our people, from our culture. Like maybe, for example, you may hear people like Oprah Winfrey, or you may hear people like Michael Jordan, or you hear people. Individuals can succeed. Individuals can succeed no matter what culture they come from, because the individual is only dealing with their ability to achieve in the time period they have to live on this earth. They don't even have to worry about their children or their past, because they're only dealing with the present. In the present, they get what they can out the present and learn the skills that they can learn and develop a high resolution of living, because they can put forth that energy that an individual can do. But that's not true with the culture. You see, and that individual can't go into the future. Individuals have a lifespan, 50 years, 30 years, 100 years. After that, it's finished with the individual, unless they can do as the Quran suggests in terms of giving of yourself to aid others to grow and aid others to grow, especially in your own culture, aid your culture to grow. That's how the individual lives on. Like some scholars even say that a scholar, the death of a scholar is more than the death, the pen of a scholar. They say the pen of a scholar is more than the death of a mortal, a person who dies for the cause is more than that. And in a way, when you look at it, you really look at what does a scholar give to the people when he's dead? What does a scholar give to the people when he's no more talking or writing? He gives to the people what he leaves behind. And if he hasn't nothing to left, and there has nothing left behind except how many touchdowns he's scored, or how many baskets he's made, or how many songs he's made, those things go on, but they go on in an emotional category, where others that hear them or read of that, they just get emotional about it, but it doesn't add to the propagation of that culture. That's why scholars are so highly held in every culture, really, because they are repeating history. They are developing the future through the
Yes,
present.
alhamdulillah. So on that note, we want to know about your definition of culture and why you really emphasize us getting to know it in your perspective, your current perspective. What is the culture for the African American community, both Islamic community under IWDM leadership, Rahimullah Alayh, and the African American community at large? Identify the culture,
Mm-hmm.
because we have a culture,
Yes.
but identify it, please.
Yes, it's so uh, it's so much of a struggle today for African Americans to identify their culture, and it's not ironic, but it's every other group of people, they have no problem with their culture. They talk about their culture, their language, their where they come from, and all of those aspects, except the African American. And the reason for that is because the African American, it didn't come from a country and maintain that identity from that country. If he was a Nigerian and he came to, all of the Africans who came to America were Nigerian, a great deal of them, and they were able to maintain their culture, then they would be of the Nigerian culture. They'd probably be called Nigerian American because there was kept that identity. But for the African American, the one who came in mostly on the slave ship, there 90% of them, and some who came over during that time, and then mixed with the ones who were present, and they mixed with the Native American who was here, and they mixed with the European American, and then that group was bred by the European slave traders when they bred the slave to make more slaves in the land without paying for them being shipped from Africa to here. See, so this group of people, of humanity, is far different than any other group in humanity. And this is why we don't have the same kind of success. You look at the African American people, our earning power right now today is $1.7 trillion, more than any other country in Africa. The closest is Egypt. Egypt is $1.5 trillion. See, so we're far ahead in terms of buying power of other African countries. But when you look at them and listen to them, they are talking about themselves. They are talking about the resurrection of themselves. They are talking about getting themselves out of the grips of the European. They're not talking about trying to find a place to sit at the table when there's no place. They're talking about building the table. They're talking about putting the house up. They're talking about putting the whole edifice in play. Then it's not just talking about this. I want to live with somebody. I want to sit next to somebody just to be human. If the European American let me sit next to him, then I know I'm human. Let me marry his daughters and sons and so forth and so on. This is the dilemma of the African American people. So when we try to explain it, we are explaining something that doesn't even exist. We're trying to make sense out of something that's almost senseless. It's almost senseless to talk about a people who do not have a culture. It's almost senseless. It's almost you won't know where to start. You won't know how to place their existence. They don't even know. They won't be able to agree with one another. They won't be able to agree on what they think about God, what they think about the cosmos, what they call values, and what do they call language. They won't be able to agree with those things because they do not have a cultural foundation. So even in the discussion that we would have, it's almost impossible for us to have a reasonable discussion if we don't have the knowledge of what culture is. And culture is more than just what they tell us it is in terms of African American culture. There's no such thing as that, by the way. There's culture. Culture is one thing. Culture is one thing. It's not African American. It's not European American. It's one thing. And those people who practice culture are part of that. They can identify their culture as a group. But culture doesn't belong to a particular ethnicity. The culture belongs to when a group of people, a large group of people, come together and begin to figure out how they can benefit themselves in this creation. And they use common denominators. They use the references of how they're going to treat each other. They use the reference of how they're going to communicate with each other. Far beyond communicating with others, that comes way down the line. But the first thing they do in establishing a culture is go to the maximum of what culture means. Culture is a collection of knowledge accumulated by people over a period of time about their existence. That's the foundation. Without that foundation, they're just like whistling in the wind, some would say. But if they have that foundation, they have something to build on. There's no way to unite. You can't unite on air. You can't unite on air. You can't unite on things that really have no bearing. You ask an African American in the street about the African American culture, and he give you a definition. Then you ask the scholars about the African American culture, they give you a definition. You ask me, I give you a definition. You ask another griot, they give you a definition. Because the concept.
So, Brother Imam, I have a question for you. If that's a great stopping point, could you also give us your perspective on moving forward? Because we know that as African Americans, we are in a situation now that we really more than ever have to start looking at our strength from the inside out. We need to stop looking to the government. We need to stop looking for people to come and save us and start saving ourselves. And so what would be the first step to saving ourselves or building a model community from the inside out? What would be the first step?
The first step is the foundation.
Is the most essential.
The first and essential, and when we say essential, we mean essential. It can't be done without it. Is learn the foundation of your own culture. African Americans need to learn their own culture. We need to know how we began. Culture has an origin. People have a place of origin, a beginning place. And if they don't understand that, then they're going to be forever wandering people, wandering nomads, because there's no way to lay the foundation. You can't build a house on a weak foundation, a house on sand. You have to have firmness. And we have to, as African Americans, come to that conclusion. We can't dance around this issue. Because as long as we dance around this issue, the more difficult it is for us to come together. We can't come together on the idea say we need to get together. We need to do those. That's just as far from a reality as possible. We can't get any further from reality than people standing around saying we need to unite. We need to be together. They're talking about how to unite something you don't know what it is. How do you put something together you have no idea its beginning, its place in the history of man? You have no relationship with the reality of existence. So what is the relationship? What is the relationship that we as a people have with the reality of existence? If we don't have that as an idea, as a concept, then we just know where we could come together. What are we going to come together on the basis of what? On the basis because the European American treats us badly? On the basis that we don't have the same equal rights as others? Is that going to be our basis? See, until we learn the particulars, until we learn what culture is, again, it's accumulation of knowledge of a group of people about themselves, a language they develop, a way of life they develop dealing with beliefs, dealing with values, dealing with concepts of the universe. That's the basis of culture. And there's many other aspects of the basis of culture too. I'm just giving you a few. So we can get in the habit. We can get in the habit of searching for the right things. We can get in the habit of putting the right things together so we can advance. Imam Muhammad had it right. He had it directly right. It seems as though the African American people have not really caught on to it, but he had it right. He says, don't forget your cultures. Don't forget your culture. Build on your uniqueness. And when you use the term uniqueness, we have to search for that. What is unique about the African American people is the first question we should be asking ourselves in our discussions. We should be trying to find out about ourselves in order to put it together. We can't wait for the European to we can't wait for the European. Excuse me, are you seems like yeah. Are you asking me a question, sister?
No, I was agreeing with you. Go ahead and when you
okay.
finish your statement, I also want to comment.
It's vital. There's no way around it. You can't. This is not the dance that we take to the dance hall. This is not that. This is not learning how to do particular moves. This is not that. This is bigger than that. It's just that we are a people who have been cut off from the process. We've been cut off from the process on how to build our culture by the European American while he was building his society, while he was building his empire, and using us as the labor. And he stripped us of understanding about ourselves. But Allah, in his wisdom, blessed our people to be able to lay a foundation even under those circumstances that our people were going through 300 or 400 years ago. The foundation is there. If we look and see it, it's there. If we're not looking for it, we don't see it.
Assalamu alaikum. We have a question. We're going to go with Imam Kareem Hamid. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Narrative Aspirations. Please unmute your mic. Question or comment, please.
Yes, wa alaikum assalam. Praise be to Allah. Most important subject that our beloved Imam Shahid Abdullah is bringing forward to us. And my mind, I go back. I'm looking back in the recent past. There is something that was very distinct and obvious about us. The first thing was there are no people of color have more degrees, educational degrees, than the African American on this earth.
That's right.
And also in our past, what was emphasized was education, not a job. Let me say not a job. Education and invention. Mm-hmm. Look at the things that we invented in this country. Open heart surgery, blood transfusion, the light bulb. Just go through the many myriad of inventions that came from out of us. So I would state if we emphasize the pronouncement of culture, that we emphasize those wonderful attributes that we already have. Education and invention. This country only landed on the moon due to what? The intellect of African American women.
Mm-hmm.
We only have frozen trucking now to preserve food from the mind of African American.
Right.
The coupling between railroad of African American. They revolutionized the agriculture on the earth. On the earth. Our brother George Washington Carver,
Mm-hmm.
he implemented rotating crops. He revolutionized so I'm saying that the culture should relate to the achievements we've already made. There are so many inventions that came from us, but others put their names on it.
Mm-hmm.
But that excellence is still within us. Number one priority, education. Next thing, a coupling with the creation. Get into invention and science. I believe that is the key to our culture. We've already expressed it. If we took everything back that we contributed to this country, they would be sitting in the dark. Their food would be spoiling and transported. No blood. Look at how many lives Dr. Charles Drew saved on the earth with blood transfusion. So I'm saying that our culture should be coupled with that which is already within us. Get an education and be inventive. Have an imagination. We already have that.
Right.
Thank you, Imam Abdullah. Praise be to Allah. We are grateful for your insight, and I'm grateful that you are a griot, that you can go back. Thank you, my brother. I'll stop right there. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, you said some very powerful and important things about what we should recognize and how and why we should recognize them. And because most of us don't realize that they are there. And that keeps us apart from not knowing that they are there. When we have the same information, and that information is positive information, then just by learning that information, we become closer together, even if we never meet one another. But we come closer together because our knowledge is very similar and impacting. So it's a real bonding kind of impact that culture has. And even before the time of the great inventors, we had other inventors too. But even before that, we had a brother that the history shows that we have one who started the language, and he was the first to start bringing the African people together as a group. They call him by the name of Jimmy, and they spell it Gimme. But and they have a wooden carving of him that they did from that time back in the 1600s. That was the first time that the Africans took the time to come together. And you see, we should know that particular history. How did the Africans during that time, 1600, to get enough time to be able to create a language? And the answer is simple when you really think about it, but we don't really think about it because we're not taught about the impact that something as simple as the sickle cell has on our growth and development. The European gave us the gave the African here the idea of sickle cell being a problem for us. The sickle cell causes us to get sick. But really, Allah put the sickle cell in humanity. It wasn't for just the African, it was for the beginning of man, when man started in Africa. In order for the human being to survive in Africa, they had to survive the malaria. The malaria fever was carried by mosquitoes. And if the human being didn't have any protection against that, the human society never would have survived. But Allah created the sickle cell at the creation of man. And that sickle cell takes the malaria germ out of the body, and it's just like having a cold or something. So that same sickle cell was in the Africans who were brought to America. Who were brought to America, they had that same sickle cell in them. And we hear people now getting sick with the sickle cell, but they're not telling those people even the truth about the power of the sickle cell. And the sickle cell is like a horseshoe-shaped cell. Like most of our red cells are round, and the sickle cell is shaped like a horseshoe. And it catches the germ and takes it out through the spleen. What benefit that was to the African in developing our culture was that Allah placed it in us. And when we were in the Sea Islands in South Carolina and Georgia, the mosquito who carried the malaria germ also was there. And the European had no defense against malaria. So at the time down in the Sea Islands, from June to October was what they call malaria season. And the mosquitoes was everywhere with this germ. So the European had to leave that area every year for 6 months in order to survive. If they stayed there, they would die. It was just automatic that the malaria would kill people who stayed there because they didn't have a cure for it at that particular time. But the African was immune to it. Some got sick, little sick, but not an epidemic amongst the African. But the African now found itself with time. Each year, the African had time to talk with each other, to try to figure out what they can do with each other. And they began to create this language they call Geechee. The concept came, the language came from the name Ogeechee River, which is a river that runs from northern Georgia down into the Sea Islands, where most of them lived at that time. And they all, before that, they went by the Gullah people. Then it became the Gullah Geechee. As a people, they became Gullah. And a lot of people don't relate it to what I'm about to say, but my evidence show that this statement is true, that the word Gullah evolved from the word Allah, that the Muslim slaves used to use. They would use the word Allah in almost everything. Well, we know as being Muslim, we say Allahu Akbar, Allah bless you, and all of the things we use Allah in. So they probably used it the same way we would use it. And it became popular. In order to hide what it meant, they had to change it into the language they were speaking, which was Geechee. So you transfer Allah to Gullah, and they became the Gullah Geechee. That's the foundation that you will find of the African American people in terms of language. And then they developed that language so much so that they were able to work together each year for 6 months out of a year, work together and begin to escape the plantations. The first town that ever was set up by the African people were down in Fort Muse in St. Augustine, Florida. Some of you who live in that area, you probably know some of the history. It became the first village ever set up by African Americans in America, African town. You see, so that gives us a foundation as a people. We're not just floating around in air. We're not just suddenly we popped up. No, we created the conditions to start laying the foundation for our people to evolve into a culture of growth and understanding. See, so it's a matter of research, and it's a matter of following the logic to its logical conclusion. Then we'll see these things, and then every time you see and learn something about your own people, it gives you pride. It gives you confidence. It gives you what causes the most powerful element in the whole creation. It gives you belief in yourself. There's no power stronger than belief, save Allah. Belief is the force that causes a man who has nothing to get up and do something. Belief is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to get away from becoming an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic when he first heard Farad. When his wife, Clara, that was also in the play, where his wife took him to listen to Farad Muhammad, and he listened to him. And from that one lesson, one showing, he believed it. And believing it, he changed his life. Individuals change their life because of belief. Countries change their country because of belief. Belief is the most powerful thing you can have. This is why Allah says to us, we must believe. We must believe in him because that's the strength. That's the strength. And if you don't have a foundation in your culture, you don't have a belief in self. And the European knows that. He knows that we can't believe in ourselves because we don't know who we are. What are you believing in? Just because someone tied us up to a tree and whipped us or hanged us, that's what we're going to believe in? See, if we don't know this beginning that Allah had blessed us with, that Allah had given us the opportunity to start our culture here in America, even in the harshness that was going on here, we still were able to lay that foundation. And once we begin to grasp that as descendants of our foreparents, we begin to get strength. And because we start to get strength, and that strength and power is belief. And that's what's going to bring us together. That's what's going to cause us to be more, is belief. Belief in who we are. Belief that Allah did this, made it possible for us to survive the treatment of the European, and made it possible for us to grow and to go into some of what Brother Kareem was talking about, some of those great inventions. Made that all possible. He created the African American to be great producers, great scientists. And the evidence is there. See, but it's not there if it's hidden. It's not there if the European is not telling us there, because see, we didn't, they didn't teach us the things we taught them. Benjamin Banneker laid out Washington, the city of Washington. The almanac, he made that, and he also built the first wooden clock.
Yep.
He was educated himself. He educated himself. You see, so it's when you learn your culture, you start to feel it. And when you start to feel it, you start to believe it. And once you believe it, once, and all you have to do is believe it. Most of us don't believe it now. That's why it's not really happening today. That's why we're not really coming together. We're not really, because we don't really believe it. We I guess in a way, shame to say we are this or we are that. We're not. Whatever the reason may be, I don't know all the reasons, but I do know one sure thing. Belief is the most powerful element in the universe that causes man to move forward as an individual and as a group. Until we learn who we are and how we came into existence and why that is so important, we will never develop the strength of belief. Belief has power to move.
Alhamdulillah. So with that said, Imam Shahid Abdullah, we want to ask you a strategy to develop that belief system. We know that Al-Islam is one of the most powerful methods of rebuilding yourself, reconnecting with your creator, and not idealizing anyone or anything except the creator himself. It brings to us no images. And we know that in Exodus 20, verses 4 and 5, from the song that we used to sing, it says, don't make graven even images of the Lord on high. But we know that we're not supposed to have any images of the creator. And for us, I think that is our starting point. I know a lot of African-American churches have evolved. They don't have the white man listed or portrayed as Jesus. But what is the problem? Why do you think the belief system is so is not connected? Because we have the strongest amount of people that are very spiritual. We attend our houses of worship, whether we're Muslim, Christian, Jews, Jehovah's Witnesses. We're strong in our faith systems. We are. However, we're not connected like we should be. Interfaith, or even intra-faith. And in addition to that, we don't always have the right concept of God. And there's partners that can get in there when you don't have that concept. Unconscious partners, because Allah says he can change the condition of any people until they change with what is within their own souls. That means change starts from the inside out.
Yes,
And so
that's
we
talking about
seem to be
belief.
doing everything we do. Yes, go
Khalidah,
ahead.
That's talking
we have
about belief. You know the reasons that Christians and others have a big problem? Because they believe in things. They believe in things, and we have no problem with believing in things like jewelry and money and all that kind of stuff. And we don't have no problem in believing in false gods. We believe in false gods, and they make up most of the belief systems in terms of a deity. Most of them are based on superstition. Most of them are based on things that you know, almost in fairy tales. The people walking
Yes,
on
let's
water,
take
all
this
these kind of things.
caller.
This, this,
Yes.
this. So it's what you believe in, what causes strength. What you believe in is what. And if you get the strength from Allah, then you have to believe in yourself. You can't believe in Allah and not believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, then you don't believe in the creator of you. The creator of you gets the credit. The creator of you gets the credit. The creator, when you say, I believe I can do it because I was created to do it. And I thank the creator for creating me to be myself. You see, if we don't get those kinds of things going on in our thinking, then we don't connect to the creator. And nobody has to tell you that the creator's name is Allah. The religion is Islam. You don't need that. You don't need to be told that. Man, before man was told Islam was the way of life for civilized thinking people, we were believing in Allah. We were believing in self. We were building tremendous things over in different countries and lands. We were building temples and science, all of doing it. But we had a belief in self. They believed they were scientists. They believed they could crack the concept of the universe. They believed
Yes.
those things. They created numbers and created all these things because they believed they could. Once we do that, then the belief in Allah, the belief in God, the belief in religion comes easier because we come on a system that's grounded in the natural development of human being. It's not natural for us not to believe in ourselves. It's not natural to believe we can't achieve all these things that we see others achieving. It's not natural. It's natural for man to believe that he can find out the mystery that the person before him couldn't find. It's natural for man to search. Allah never would have called man the Khalifa if that was not true. He called man the Khalifa, the one who can go in the darkness and pull out the light, the one who can dig out the soil and bring things into reality. That word Khalifa talks about a human being is a creature who can turn things around and upside down on his own merit. And once
Yes.
he's able to do that, then he comes to the conclusion that there was a creator greater than him who created him. This is what Abraham said. Abraham said, I don't believe in these false things. I believe in the one who created us the first time. You see, it's all
Yeah,
that.
so we have a caller, Brother Imam. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. I think it was Imam Kareem Hamid was trying to make a comment. You can
Oh.
go ahead at this time, and thank you so much for that explanation.
Praise be to Allah. My brother hit it right on the head. You can ask any African American, do they believe in God? And the majority will say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But ask them, do they believe in themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in yourself? That is where the deficit comes at.
Right.
Because the perception that we have been given of God is not true. It's not a true perception. He has presented to us as other than us.
Mm-hmm.
So clearing up the right perception of the Creator and our relationship to the Creator makes us, I can believe in myself.
Right.
I can believe in myself. So that is the ingredient that I believe in, and I'm not condemning all Christian faith. There are some wonderful Christians, very intelligent, but the majority is not approaching us with that type of language. With that, and I'm not talking about those that talk about getting rich quick, these prosperity preachers. No. Our existence as a human family on this earth God have not given one people something that he did not give everyone. But we have to believe in ourselves.
That's right.
That's so important. I'll stop right there. Thank you, Sister Khalidah and Imam Abdullah.
Alhamdulillah. Sister Khalidah? Oh, well, I would.
Alhamdulillah here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So anyway, yes, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Imam Kareem Hamid, for all your thought reflective and very sincere comments. We appreciate you for joining us. We want to close out with actually letting all of our listening audience know that we are having an IWDM 50 event, August 1st to the 3rd, that you can go on the website, look at IWDM 50. And it's going to be, inshallah, in Philadelphia. It's going to be highlighting the language and logic of Imam Muhammad. I just imagine how he felt. He was a man before his time. Every time you listen to anything he said, he was giving answers way back 30, 40, 50, well, 30 years ago at least, or before that. He was definitely 50 years ago. He came out strong, and he's very relevant today. So I can't imagine, he was very humble in being able to just be patient with his people, because he was telling us what we are saying now. He's been saying the same thing, and he was trying to lead us. But again, if we don't believe in ourselves, nobody's going to be able to lead us anywhere. If we don't embrace the knowledge for ourselves, study it for ourselves, build our own individual lives up so you can be self-sufficient. You can believe in yourself. You can't do anything if you don't believe in yourself, even at the individual level, because you would be suspect, like the young adults say, to everybody else who's coming in. You go against your own leadership, smite off your own nose, even just because you don't want to trust anything that sounds like you need to depend on yourself. And so it's an attack almost on that, even that thought process. And the person who's bringing it to you is almost like picking that person apart, trying to find fault within that person and tearing ourselves down from the inside out. But he was very clear, very distinct, very much an educated scholar. Anybody at any level can listen to him and get something from him on how you can build your individual, family, and community life. And to me, he was very generous and very patient from what he was saying way back when. And we're still trying to evolve to that point. He was like a man before his time to me, because every time I listen to his lectures, it was so relevant. And they're very common sense. They're very logical. And he's been saying the same consistent message for years. So where are we in that process? I believe in us, just like Imam Kareem Hamid said, and you said, Imam Shahid Abdullah, we have had significant contributions to this society and the world at large. We know we live in a capitalist country, and pretty much around the world now, people try to capitalize, and they can take something that you created or invented and use it for monetary reasons. We had a speaker today at the summer camp at Masjid Al-Shahid. We have children that come, and she went to school to be a botanist, but she told us that a lot of the things that she made some lip balm from natural resources, and she also made some um, juices for us. She juiced some drinks, some smoothies for us with kale and all the fresh vegetables and juices for the children. But she told me that her professor years ago told her that companies, what they do is when they get hold of a plant, she said, if everything derives from a plant, why can't we just go and start sharing that information and building our lives around that? But she said companies, they take a patent out on even a lost creation, that knowledge of that plant, those chemicals, and they patent it so nobody else can use it for a whole decade. They want to make money off of it for a decade. And then once they get that, then other businesses can do the same thing. So we have to research for herself. That's why she started studying for herself and making things for herself, because the information, is there, but we have to search for it, because a lot of cures and things with medicines that people are saying they know. A lot of times they do, but it is kept back for profit. And they, like I said, patent a lost creation. That's a bold move. You got to fear Allah, because that money is not going to get you in a paradise. And if you have something that can benefit someone else and you withhold information to profit yourself, how long is that going to last? No money ever kept somebody from returning to Allah. I've never seen a millionaire who bought their way out of death. So if inshallah they'll start looking at the principles of being one humanity and
Right.
allowing us, they can't hold you from studying. They can't hold you from becoming your personal best. So study, read, and live off Allah's creation. It's in the Quran. They can't take that from you. But what they can do is take away your self-esteem and your confidence, put a BET on TV, woman undressed, men being thugs, and put out all the movies with the shooting and the killing and the promiscuity and shaking your booty and the hair weaves and billions of dollar industries that keep us under. They get us through those things. But when we become aware, self-aware, we're not see a 65-year-old woman running around with purple hair hanging down, long weave, dressing like somebody who's in their 20s. And it's clear that you're not that age. And that's a sign. The women are very important to society. And I'm not talking about my sisters in a negative way, but there's no way you can do that with a conscious spirit. You have to have, there's something missing. There's a disconnect because it's just not in your nature to just present yourself like that. Not a woman who, with wisdom, that raised children and grandchildren and lived her life pleasing God and striving to do the best she can to revert back to at that age, you just want to make sure that you are connecting with your creator at every stage of life and keeping Shaitan out of your home with the TV. No, don't watch Basketball Wives and all that fruitless information about women being catty and petty and breast exposed and fighting over men and all that silly stuff that is just really so irrelevant to people who pray and read scripture and try to live right. It's just trashy and it looks terrible, but it's $1 billion industry and people they try to distract us any means necessary is what I'm saying. And we have to be aware of that and we have to educate ourselves from the inside out. There's no reason for them to continue. We know this is happening. This is not the first time that I've heard anybody say it, and it's not the first time that I've said it. And all of us, we know that, but we need to know how to stop it and how to move forward in the best way because it's passed down, just like generational wealth is passed down. Generational behaviors and habits and lifestyles are also passed down. And if we don't have something, an alternative to offer them, they can't see anything that we have that we built. They trying to take the shortcut. They looking at the rich and the famous, the stars, the rap stars, and the sports players, and some of them are doing some great things with the money they have. And we also need to make sure that they know that they're also role models and they need to be more concerned about their genes and their race and continuing the legacy of their forefathers, as well as just going out and just living their life to the fullest because little young adults are watching. And the messages that some of them are sending back to their communities are like, you don't have anything to offer us. We have to go elsewhere because we came up financially. We had to come out of loving our own women. We had to come out of living in and building up our own communities. We had to socialize and build a life around a whole another way of living. It's like we're a culture within a culture. We don't want any association with you unless we're giving you some charity. If you can look at you can look by the choices people make. They don't have to say much. And it's a problem when you see it excessively done. There's especially because you love yourself. If you don't love yourself, it's hard to love anybody else. And if you love yourself, there's no way you can do certain things and continue to do it and knowing the impact that it's going to have generations to come and even on your own livelihood, your existence. I mean, it's just not logical because Allah says, save yourself and your family first. And any people, that's just human instinct. Just like on a plane, you're going to save yourself because you can't help anybody else if you're down and out. So just to keep that at the forefront of how we're going to start with change. And if you are a role model and you have the wherewithal, the resources, people, places, and things to make change, use every opportunity you can in a positive way. We're not excluding anybody, but we have to look at what we have done and what we didn't do and how we can move forward differently. and build model communities for all people, but don't exclude yourself in that. That is not intelligent. It's not even rational. And you don't have the respect that other people have because they see it. Nobody would respect somebody who doesn't respect themselves. People treat you how you present yourself and how you act and what you bring to the table. If you bring it to the table foolishness, it's already clocked in our mind anyway, because of it's been embedded that, you know, the stereotypes have been embedded generation after generation, society after society, globally, even in some instances, except when people get to know us for themselves. So I'll stop right there. We're going to listen, inshallah, in. I know there is an IWDM meeting today, and I need to be tuning into that. And also, I have another meeting with the group that I'm supposed to be planning with. So we're going to have to sign off. I'm going to play Imam Muhammad Rahimullah Alayhi, and I'm going to ask if there are any more comments or questions. And then I'm going to ask Imam Shahid Abdullah to close us out. And for all of us to take a stand. If we don't believe for something, we'll fall for anything. And it's like, it's almost all the teachings that we've heard over the years. It's almost unbelievable that when you go some places, and you don't have to go too far away. Sometimes you can just go into families' environments and different environments with people who have not heard certain messages. And you wouldn't believe how primitive they seem. How the lifestyle is unimaginable. Like, how can you have missed all the things that the world has presented? But people really have to be exposed, and they have to be able to educate themselves, as Imam Kareem Hamid said. We can't depend on anybody else to educate us, especially a society that's built on capitalism and profiting off of ignorance. They profit off of ignorance, so they don't want you to know anything, but they give you what they want you to believe. And if you're not solid in your faith with God, and you don't have an understanding of who you are as an individual, as a community, as a family, you're going to be gullible, even unconsciously gullible. You treat people one way, you look at yourself another way. You deceive your own self. You deceive your own self because of what has been poured into you. So we have to do a cleansing, a spiritual, psychological, emotional, religious cleansing. We just need to get it all out of us, and we need to start with who we are and who we want to be and how we're going to move forward for the rest of eternity in this life, inshallah. So thank you so much for tuning in to Narrative Aspirations. When we aspire, we do go higher. We're going to stop here. And Imam Shahid Abdullah, if you tell us how we can get your books, and then give us a closing statement, and then close us out with dua. And inshallah, we'll play Imam Muhammad on a separate device. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for joining us.
Wa alaikum assalam. Yes, thank you very much. The listeners, some of the information that I was talking about, you can find in my writings. I have several books called the Book of Knowledge, the Knowledge Collection. It's books of different aspects of what we talk about. And in those books, I make it so clear that we actually, Imam Muhammad is the man we this time has been waiting for, and he was on time with the time, and we are in the time, and the books stress that point so much so that we have to live the moment, and if we don't live the moment, we miss it. But we have to live the moment. You could get it at go to Building New Africa USA.com. That's Building New Africa USA.com. And you can order any of the books there. You can also call me direct at 908-296-2558. That's 908-296-2558. Or you could email me at Shahid, SHAHID _ Abdullah, ABDULLAH 2000 at yahoo.com. And you can get any of my books on Amazon. Just put in my name or the name of the book, because you know the one you're looking for, or put my name in, Shahid Abdullah, and you will be able to see any of my books you would want to get, have some question about them, give me a call. I'll give you some more information regarding the book, how we can use that information and grow and develop on it. In closing, pretty much, I want to just reiterate what we have learned in this time period in which we live about what we can do with this time period and how we operate within this time period, how we come to the conclusions is necessary for us to evolve. And evolving is what we are about. We're not about getting so far in the past. We're not trying to rent a space in the past. We're using the past as a stepping stone into the present and into the future. So this is about giving birth to the future. Birth in the future is what we're about as African American people who come into special knowledge that that Allah has blessed us with, and the power we have. All we have to is unleash the power of belief, but we have to have something to believe in. It's not just this fake belief that people do and people say. It has to be real. Know yourself. Know how we came to existence. Know what keeps us here. Know how Allah is our beginning and our end. And Allah is where we hold all our strength, and in a real sense, not just in this the sense of images, but in the sense of power that's within each of us. So I want to thank you all for that. I believe that I don't know if Sister Khalilah is having any more questions. If there are no other questions, we can close out. I see Brother Muhammad Sharif, but I don't know if she can, a couple other.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I just if Khalilah haven't left yet.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, did you get an opportunity to check out the Black Sambo?
Did me?
No, Sister Khalilah.
Sister Khalilah. Oh, she didn't look. Oh, okay.
Sister?
Excuse me, did I get a chance to check out? Say that again?
The Black Sambo.
No, I did not.
Well, please do it at your earliest convenience. Next time we want to hear that you read about Little Black Sambo, because most of it much older than you. So we were raised up reading books about Little Black Sambo, and we want you to go and check out, see what we came through, Little Black Sambo.
Okay. Can you email me that information?
No, I don't have it in there. You just go online, put in Little Black Sambo, it'll come up.
Okay. So it's not any of a personal. Okay, wonderful. I will do that. Thank you so much for that reminder. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brother Bashir. Also, I think he's still with us, it looks like. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We're going to play Imam Muhammad, and I'm going to get on another, inshallah, meeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Did you close us out with a dua, please?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسول الله. آمين.
Amen.
Amen.
Each other better, to respect each other more. The more we know of each other's differences and appreciate what God has favored or blessed us with separately, the richer we will be in knowledge, in human worth, God says that He didn't create us to stand over each other, but He created us tribes, nations, different, so that we would want to get acquainted with each other. so that we will want to know each other. Muslims, that tells us that Allah, the Lord creator of all, wants Muslims to be in dialogue with people of other religions. How are we going to respond to God's teaching to us that he didn't make us different societies or different nations for us to despise each other or stand over each other, but he made us different nations so that our curiosities will be aroused and we will want to get acquainted with each other. And when we get acquainted with each other, we will benefit from the differences and appreciate the differences. Our nation is a different nation from that of China, the people of China, and others. Our nation is different, and they are different. But when we come to know each other, we find that they have benefits that we can use, and we have benefits that they can use. And coming to the world table, to the global table of acquaintance, the global table of acquaintance, where we are getting acquainted with each other. We can go from that global table back to home much more richer than we were before we sat with each other at the global community table, to have dialogue and get acquainted so we know each other better, to respect each other more. The more we know of each other's differences and appreciate what God has favored or blessed us with separately, the richer we will be in knowledge, in human worth, and even in faith. My faith has been improved through interaction or through dialogue with non-Muslims of the Christian religion and the Jewish religion. We look at the trends, the global trends, and if we are people of faith following Scripture, we will try to benefit from what God has said of the future times that are coming, the ends of man's efforts and planning, the conclusions that we are headed for. And God says, ultimately, these conclusions are going to be fair and just conclusions. Fair and just conclusions. We shouldn't look at events in the life of a nation or in the life of this globe separate, taken out of the context of developing history, progressing history. But we should look at these events in the context of the lifeline of history. I have not lost respect for the United States of America. After rejecting it, I was born and raised in a society that rejected it, so I was born being nursed by the teaching of separatism and rejection, refusing to accept the United States as a government that we would value or should value. As I began to think freely, and remember, God says, think. In the Quran, God says, think, for surely thinking brings you profits, benefits. As a thinker, I began to study America's life and history for myself and come up with an estimate of its value to society, to human beings in society for myself. And I couldn't judge it by what occurred in its history to make my fathers and mothers slaves in the South, or to take away our human respect and human worth. I had to judge it by his whole lifeline. And when I looked at his whole lifeline, I saw that it was really a nation like the soul of one person. A person that had committed itself to high human values and standards, but had been tempted at certain periods of time, at certain steps in time, had been tempted and gave in to the temptation. Then I look at it in the conclusion of that ugly time period that supported white supremacy, and I see it repenting its ways. I see it overcoming white supremacy. I see it purging its own soul to get rid of racism in its spirit and in its body. So should I put it down now? I should have put it down in 1950. I shouldn't wait until it changed to put it down. So I'm not with those who want to put down America. Not at this time. For me, this is my day. My day is here now. Now that a room is made for me in the most powerful country on this earth, you think I'm going to follow you out of the house? I'm going into my room. And I'm going to engage the competitors for more space in the house. We are peacemakers. Our model, the Prophet Muhammad, the peacemaker. We should be liberators. We should be championing the cause of freedom of religion. We should be making contributions to the betterment of mankind, not just to ourselves, our families, and our neighborhoods, but to mankind. And if you do your work for yourself in the right spirit, your work will be a contribution to all people in the spirit of obedience to God, in the spirit of unity with all humanity, in the spirit of cooperation with all the good forces and good minds of mankind on this earth. If you do your separate work in that spirit, your separate work is going to be not only a great contribution to yourself and your family and your neighborhood, it's going to be a great contribution to mankind. What we are building in the United States of America for our life as Muslims in this country, we are doing it for ourselves, but we are doing it in the spirit of a true Muslim follower of the model man Muhammad. And what we are doing is going to benefit not only us, but other people. If you know what God intends for the human being, you will feel that it is as much an obligation on your neighborhood, on your community, to produce the needs of the community: housing, businesses, transportation, financial institutions, human service departments or buildings, hospitals, clinics, whatever. It is as much an obligation on you to do that as it is on you to make your 5 daily prayers. Because if you make your 5 daily prayers and do dhikrs on your fingers and fast the month of Ramadan and do extra prayers and extra fasting and don't do the other part of it, which is associated with marriage. We're told that the prophet said marriage is half of your religion. To marry is half of your religion. Why is that so important? To marry is to accept the social institution, the social establishment, to make your contribution to the social institution, the social establishment. And to marry is also to make your contribution to the economic life of the society. Because if you're a real man, you're a man like Adam was. Peace be upon the prophet man, the first man, Adam. And God said to him, I put all of this before you. Now cultivate it. Cultivate it. He was given the ground and the waters and the trees and the forests, all to utilize it and to cultivate it. And if you're a real natural born man that God made you, or that God made your fathers, you marry not only to have sex, buddy, that's the small part of it. You marry to make your contribution to the social establishment and to make your contribution to the growth and health of the economy. If sex is all of it, then you're no more than a dog in heat. Lastly, in this address, I'm going to appeal to you to sincerely study your religion for yourself. There's not enough time on Friday to give you all you need to know for that week about your religion. The Imam doesn't have enough time on Friday, Jummah Day, to give you what you need to know about your religion. You're going to have to become literate. You're going to have to start reading Islamic books, good Islamic books, the Quran more, and study it more. God says, don't count your religion as a favor to God. God says, count it as a favor to you. You're the one that's getting the great benefit. God doesn't need it. Islam and Quran is not for God, it's for you, for human beings. God never needed to read the Quran. Many of us came from poor Christian life in this great country, America. Our preacher was poor. The church was poor. We were poor. That was the situation for most of us who came from Christianity to Islam in this country. There's the exception, but it's very rare. So we didn't come to Islam with really a strong knowledge of Christianity. We were just people who believed. What will make a difference is that we become educated in Islam. And if we become educated in Islam, then we can do what we want to do with our life. We can lift it up and we can put it down. And I know we are not fools to put our life down. We're going to lift it up. Let me read something to you here. A professor at Chicago University said about the future. I think he's addressing the future of Muslims in this country. Indirectly, if not directly. Professor Martin Marty, University of Chicago professor of theology, a theologian, well respected. I met him personally, I know him personally. He says, unfamiliar religions might arouse suspicion at first, but over the long run, they fit in. Every new religious group has gone through it. They fit in. What does that mean? They plan to grow with America while preserving their identity. And that's what we have to do. And all over this world, on all the continents where Muslims exist, if they are a minority in a nation or in a society, they should plan their life with respect for the life of the people that they exist with. They should come up with a fair, honest, sincere evaluation of the true beliefs and true aims and purposes of those people or the aspiration of the people that they differ from. They should learn the purity of those people for themselves. They should learn the innocence of the other people for themselves so that they will have respect and value their neighbors who are not Muslim and work with their neighbors who are not Muslim and plan their life inside of the life of the majority, that it grows and contribute to the excellence of the people that differ, that are different from them. This is our recommendation in America. This is our recommendation for every minority Muslim people and any majority people, wherever they exist on this earth. Time is out for us to move upon prejudices, move upon hatred. This is not the way of people of faith. We are to move with an interest in contributing to the excellence of our people, even to the excellence of our enemies. Allah says in our Quran the same thing that the Christians have in their religion. Says sometimes showing kindness to an avowed enemy will have the effect of turning that avowed enemy into a bosom friend. So God hasn't prepared us to just go out and say, enemy, I have to fight him. God wants us to be intelligent. God wants us to be rational. God wants us to have foresight, insight, circumspection. God wants us to see, not be in the dark. Dear Muslims, what is really the invitation of Islam to us? It's the invitation to come to civilization, to rise up in civilization as a model for civilized nations, not just for ourselves. It is an invitation to come out of the darkness of ignorant, unfounded prejudices, superstition, hatred of another people, desire for dominance, to come out of that blindness, to come out of that corruption, to come out of that evil, to come out of that dumbness, that ignorance, into the guidance of God, which is the light. And he hath revealed the religion and sent Muhammad for what purpose? To bring you out of the darkness into the light. And he says, lastly, in this my address, you are the best community, brought out, evolved, brought out of what? Darkness. Darkness. The darkness of ignorance, the darkness of ignorance, the darkness of unfounded prejudices, the darkness of hatred, bigotry, greed for power, and etc., for dominance. He brought us out of that into the light of freedom, justice, equality, to liberate oppressed and fallen humanity. This is the great religion of Islam. We have to give it its due respect. To give it its due respect, you have to learn it in its full context. You have to see Islam in its full context. You can't see Islam in a small imam leading 20 people next door to a liquor store. You can't see Islam there. You have to see Islam in the Quran and see Islam in the full context of the Quran and see Islam in the full context of the life of Muhammad the Prophet. And in the best examples that has followed his leadership since the early Ummah till today. That's how you are to see Islam. You are to see Islam in the excellence of the follower that says he's a Muslim. In his excellence. Look for the follower who demonstrates excellence of humanity, excellence of mind, excellence of behavior. Look for Islam in that follower, and then you will see Islam. Thank you. Let's go ahead. Forward. Fearing nothing. Seeing nothing as an obstruction. The Imam is right. I'm a visionary. I've been a visionary since I was a little boy. I've been straining to see into the future for my life as a human being and for my people as a community. I've been straining since I was a child to see the way into the future. And God has answered my struggle and my striving and my suffering. God has answered it with clear vision. And I've come to know that we have no power of our own, just what is said to us in the Quran. We have no power of our own. We are not in command of these things. We are just the instruments of God. God is doing everything good, and we are nothing but his instruments. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.
Imam Debiddin Muhammad and I left New York City aboard a Saudi Arabian airline and landed in Jeddah almost 12 hours later. Upon our arrival at King Abdul-Azeez Airport, we were met by His Excellencies Dr. Ahmed Muhammad Ali, Dr. Muhammad Yamani, and many other religious scholars, and driven to the dignitary reception area of the airport. Imam Muhammad was on a tour of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for discussions on Islam and its progress in America with scholars of the Muslim World League, the Haramain, university presidents, and masjid imams. We arrived very late on Thursday and were taken to a hotel in Jeddah for our overnight stay. On Friday morning, Sheikh Fawzi Adil Majid Kurdi, director of the Muslim World League Jeddah office, picked us up and drove us to one of the most magnificent facilities I have ever seen for a Salatul Jummah. I said facility because this is not just a mosque, but it is more of a complex that houses many varied activities. They call this place Medina Tayyibat al-Khair, meaning city of the best, of the good things. They took us on a tour of the facility, which they told us was completed some 5 years ago, and its architectural design dates back hundreds of years. The quality of education and knowledge, along with the vocational and language courses, qualify this place to be called a city, because all of the fields of study in Islam can be found here in this self-contained institution. On Saturday, we prepared ourselves for Umrah with the traditional bath and special clothing. They took us directly to the Muslim World League headquarters in Mecca, which is a beautiful modern structure and is a gift from King Fahad to Rabita. Our first appointment was with the chief imam of the Haramain, or the Sacred Mosque, His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdullah Zubair. 7 imams supervised the activities at the two holy mosques in Mecca and Medina, and Sheikh Zubair is their chief. Mansur Ahmed Baha accompanied us to the office of the chief imam. Mansur is the director of public relations and reception for the Muslim World League. Sheikh Zubair and Imam Muhammad had a long conversation over tea and coffee, covering many aspects of Islam, including the conditions of Muslims in America. At the end of the discussion, Sheikh Zubair greeted the Imam as His Excellency and His Eminence, gave him a Quran and a piece of the Kaaba cover with the original Arabic script written on it. After spending nearly an hour with the chief imam, we left and headed for the Haram, the sacred mosque. As the sacred mosque came into view, words could not be found to describe the grandest and most sacred structure in the world to Muslims. It is so beautiful and magnificent that no Photoshop could do it justice, Imam Muhammad said. We entered the immediate area of the Kaaba near Yamani Corner, went to the corner of the Kaaba housing the black stone, saluted it with Allahu Akbar, God is greater, and joined thousands of others already performing the ritual of Tawaf. Performing Tawaf is to walk around the Kaaba 7 times counterclockwise, reciting du'as or prayers. Afterward, we prayed 2 rak'ahs at Abraham's station. The next morning, we met Mansur and left for the university, Qura, which means Mother of Cities, where Imam Muhammad had an appointment with the dean of the Sharia College, Dr. Muhammad Qutb, the younger brother of the well-known Egyptian translator, scholar, and commentator of Quran, Sayyid Qutb. Dr. Muhammad Qutb autographed a book, Shades of Quran, written by his late brother Sayyid, and presented it to the Imam, thanking him for his visit and work in America for Islam. That evening, we arrived back at the World Muslim League headquarters, where Imam Muhammad was expected to deliver a major address. Dr. Muhammad Ahmed Ali greeted Imam Muhammad upon his arrival and said that they had invited more than 200 educators and scholars to hear him. I was excited to be a part of history in the land of the prophets and birthplace of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last of the prophets. Dr. Khalil al-Khalil, a frequent guest at our conventions, accompanied us to this 3-story elegant edifice. The auditorium was completely full. Imam Muhammad began his lecture with a prayer and a historical overview of the origin of the Nation of Islam. He explained how Mr. Farad began the Nation of Islam and attracted hundreds of blacks, including his father, Elijah Muhammad, to what he called Islam. Among the many word usages introduced to the black community was Allah, Muhammad, Quran, Mecca, Medina, the crescent flag, Muslim militarism, and Muslim nations. The members of the audience were seemingly spellbound, listening to a true story of black Americans being introduced to Islam.
एक दिन हजरत मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम मक्का की गलियों से गुजर रहे थे। उन्होंने देखा कि एक बुजुर्ग औरत भारी सामान उठाए हुए कहीं जा रही थी। उन्होंने बिना कुछ पूछे उसकी मदद की और सामान उसके घर तक पहुंचा दिया। रास्ते में वह औरत बार बार मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के खिलाफ बोल रही थी, क्योंकि वह इस्लाम से नफरत करती थी। जब घर पहुंचने पर उसने पूछा, तुम कौन हो? तो आपने जवाब दिया, मैं मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम हूं। यह सुनकर वह औरत रो पड़ी और तुरंत इस्लाम स्वीकार कर लिया।
على جبين سعادتي وأفكاري تجري الحروف بأشواق وأزدهار. هذه هيا قد سرت للسعد في أمل تروي الجمال بأمثال وأطيار. عروسة النور تاج البدر يبرزها نجما يشع بأنوار. أتقبلهم الناس لست أقلدهم إلا بما يرضيني كي أرضيني. سأكون أنا مثلي تماما هدانا فقناعتي تكفيني ذاك يقيني. لا 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 نحتاج المال كي نزداد جمالا.
سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر. سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر. روحي मेरी मौला मेरी
على جبين سعادتي وأفكاري تجري الحروف بأشواق وأزدهار. هذه هيا قد سرت للسعد في أمل تروي الجمال بأمثال وأطيار. عروسة النور تاج البدر يبرزها نجما يشع بأنوار. أتقبلهم الناس لست أقلدهم إلا بما يرضيني كي أرضيني. سأكون أنا مثلي تماما هدانا فقناعتي تكفيني ذاك يقيني. لا 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 نحتاج المال كي نزداد جمالا.
سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر. سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر. روحي मेरी मौला मेरी
على جبين سعادتي وأفكاري تجري الحروف بأشواق وأزدهار. هذه هيا قد سرت للسعد في أمل تروي الجمال بأمثال وأطيار. عروسة النور تاج البدر يبرزها نجما يشع بأنوار. أتقبلهم الناس لست أقلدهم إلا بما يرضيني كي أرضيني سأكون أنا مثلي تماما هذا أنا فقناعتي تكفيني ذاك يقيني لا 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 نحتاج المال كي نزداد جمالا
سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر روحي مريمونة
على جبين سعادتي وأفكاري تجري الحروف بأشواق وأزدهار هذه هيا قد سرت للسعد في أمل تروي الجمال بأمثال وأطيار عروسة النور تاج البدر يبرزها نجما يشع بأنوار أتقبلهم الناس لست أقلدهم إلا بما يرضيني كي أرضيني سأكون أنا مثلي تماما هذا أنا فقناعتي تكفيني ذاك يقيني لا 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 نحتاج المال كي نزداد جمالا
سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر روحي مريمونة
على جبين سعادتي وأفكاري تجري الحروف بأشواق وأزدهار هذه هيا قد سرت للسعد في أمل تروي الجمال بأمثال وأطيار عروسة النور تاج البدر يبرزها نجما يشع بأنوار أتقبلهم الناس لست أقلدهم إلا بما يرضيني كي أرضيني سأكون أنا مثلي تماما هذا أنا فقناعتي تكفيني ذاك يقيني لا 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 نحتاج المال كي نزداد جمالا
سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر سبحان الله والحمد لله لا إله
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the #1 Islamic radio station in the nation, where your intellect is respected and your voice protected. Thank you so much for joining us. Please tune in if you're available for the IWDM 50 planning meeting. It's going to be starting at 9 o'clock with Imam Bashir Ali and the conveners of Imams. And also, the Mosque Cares has a convention planning meeting today. If you want to join in that, you can go to the Mosque Cares website, and it's pretty much open to the believers in our community. Imam Muhammad will be a contact person for those Zoom meetings if you want to be able to be connected throughout our community in intra-faith. That was one of the solutions that we recommended, intra-faith. Again, 2 meetings happening at 9 p.m. The conveners of Imams, the IWDM 50 meeting was sent out via Zoom. If you need that Zoom link, you need to contact either Marsha Nivens Muhammad or Imam Bashir Ali. And again, if you need the Mosque Care Zoom, you need to contact Imam Elam Muhammad, inshallah, or even Sister Martha. Sister Martha may have it. She attends sometime. Martha Naila Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for joining us. And inshallah, next week we'll be able to stay a little longer with you and share more on our beloved Imam Wardi Muhammad Rahim Allah Alay. Don't hesitate to go on YouTube for yourself and just search it up. And there are so many beautiful things that you can just listen to that inspires you. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Thank you. Here it is at the bottom. How do you leave the meeting? Here it is.